CoCoTALK would like to thank the patrons who sponsor our show, so our heartfelt gratitude goes out to Al Hartman, Alan Huffman, Blair Ledoux, Brendan Donahue, Brian Weasler, D. Bruce Moore, Davey Mitchell, Diego, Patrick Randolph, Dinty, Disney Saints fan, Eric Canales, Fedor Stamen, Frodo NL, Glenn Hewlett, Graham Vebke, Grant Leedy, Henry Strickland, Jason Bucata, Jason Downs, Ken Reichert, Kyle Eder, Malfunct, Michael Pitsley, Rick Hewlin, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, Richard Lorbieski, Jenna Ferrin, Rob Inman, Alan Murphy, Stephen Wagner, Terry Steen, The Backyard Shed Gang, Perry Steggy, Tom C., Tom S., Tim Lindner, and Tony C. Thank you ever so much, patrons. CoCoTALK is an unscripted live broadcast. Anything can and will happen. The views and opinions expressed by members of the panel and the live audience are their own and not necessarily those of the CoCoTALK show, its sponsors, affiliates, or subsidiaries. Open minds encouraged, sense of humor recommended. If any off-color comments were made, we're sorry.
Hi, this is Dale Lear, designer of TRS-80 Color Baseball, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
This is CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer. It's time to drop your socks, grab your real-time clocks, and let's rock.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Welcome to CoCoTALK episode 186, where we're just winging it like that Buzzard Bait guy.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
As I
Okay.
enjoyed getting more snow after the foot plus we had last week.
You can keep it. It was ice by the time I got down here.
Actually, you guys sent it up here. It was a Colorado system that hit us.
Yeah, Colorado.
Some of that
stop
left-handed
sending us-
snow.
Stop sending us your terrible weather, Colorado. Although
Yeah,
we haven't.
we had 14 inches over the last weekend, and it just snowed again a couple inches last night. So
Wow.
Geez, and I'm complaining about leaves.
I don't have to worry about leaves anymore. I can't even see them. So
Yeah, you don't have to worry about raking them.
nope.
All right, I guess let's do some panel introductions. Let's see. Top corner, as long as stuff doesn't move on me. First up, we have Sleepy Malibu. All right.
Greetings.
Next over, Paul T. Barton.
Yahoo.
Wow.
Okay, now again with less feeling.
What?
Where's David Ladd when you need him?
Yay.
Let's see. Next over, Patrick Euland.
Howdy, folks.
It'll be amazing if I can actually pronounce everyone's name. Next up on the panel.
There will be a test.
Yes.
Hope you're taking notes.
Jason Reichard.
Hey, you got it.
I was trying to come up with something snappy about promoting the switcheroos and joeys and all the other little things you got.
Oh, all those little doodads and stuff. Well, I look at it this way. CoCoTALK. We're here every week, whether you want us to be or not.
We'll just have to play all 12 commercials to catch everything.
At the same time. To save time.
All right. Next over is L. Curtis Boyle.
Hello, everyone.
All right. Next up, Terry Stiggy, right?
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Our VP
Pretty good. All
and
right,
newsletter
so-
editor, I think. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Next up, Nick Marotta.
Good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing? It's good to be here.
And next
I'm
up,
expecting an answer.
Nick Marotta.
Oh,
And Nick Marotta.
oh, thrice. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you.
All right.
For a second, I thought you were having a stroke, but I'm glad it recovered. So go ahead.
I thought I was. I thought I had a memory lapse.
Record skip. Let's see. Ron Delvo.
Hey, how's everybody?
Not too bad.
Glad to be next to Mr. Marentes.
Yep, and that's who's up next. Nick Marentes.
Hey, good day, everyone.
All right. Last
You're
on the
upside
panel.
down, Nick.
You don't
Last
even see
over on the
this.
panel is R. Alan Murphy.
Howdy, howdy.
All right.
Not your
Hey,
Alan
Alan.
Murphy, but our Alan Murphy.
That's right.
Or at least an Alan Murphy.
We already got a pretty full chat room too, which is cool. A lot of people there too. So
Yeah,
Hello
just
to
make
all
sure
of
we're
you.
just make sure we're staying socially distanced in the chat room.
And I do got to remember to turn on the.
Comments should
Security
be
so
6
that,
lines apart.
That's right.
Oh, you're doing a
yeah.
local recording as well?
Yeah, I did start just a few
Okay.
seconds late, but
It's inside
we
baseball,
can always
but-
patch on a new intro if we need to.
Yeah, we
Well,
got
this is
Steve.
just a rehearsal, right?
Yeah, the real show is next week.
Yeah.
Okay, we got James Jones in chat, Curtis, 8-Bits, Bill Noble, Carl, Tim Franklin, Mikey, David Ladd, Canadian Retro Things, Kevin Holloway, Nimble, and Ryan Sawyer. Welcome to the chat.
Who's going to do the David Ladd intros for us? Come on, Jason, give us a David Ladd.
Oh, I've got my Diet Dr. Pepper, and I'm so excited here with my grease weasel. Yee!
Wouldn't be a show without it.
Nope.
Is it a show either way?
Well, no, but
I don't know, what makes it a show? The fact that people are watching us, or just the fact that we're here?
just the
Just
fact
say
that none of
yes.
us have lives, and that's why we're here every Saturday, like pathetic little. Never mind.
We're on for 3 hours and nobody was there to hear us. Would we be a show?
It's kind of like it's like a weekly users group meeting almost.
Yeah, a club meeting,
Kind of.
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, that'll work.
And then I forget, there might be a handful other people that are watching it out on the internets.
We have no agenda, though. I don't think we have an itinerary.
Well, we're just winging it today. You see, today's title is
Yes.
just CoCoTALK.
We do have an agenda. It's
186.
to promote the Cocoa. So
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, promote the cocoa, promote Diet Dr. Pepper, and just wing it.
Yep, just winging it. Speaking of which, do we want to move into the high score challenge?
Sure, may as well.
All right. I think we have a Coco Fox come up today. So
A fresh one?
yeah, a fresh one. So hold on to your lunch.
Ron.
fresh is a relative
boy.
term. But go ahead.
All right.
And now, Coco Thoughts by Samuel Gimes. Those who like retro don't need the latest. I think of Joust clones. Buzzard Bait's the greatest.
Okay, you can pull it down now.
I'm gonna fly on an ostrich, and you'll see. Fly on an ostrich, be attacked by enemies. I'm gonna fly on an ostrich. Eggs are free. Oh Lord, there's a pterodactyl. Kill the bad knights. Whose top altitude you beat? Catch the drop days, or they'll get a new seat. Avoid the troll, lava and the heat. Oh no, another pterodactyl. I'm gonna fly on an ostrich, jousting spree. Fly on an ostrich, rapid flapping is the key. I'm gonna fly on an ostrich. It's all glee, still hate the pterodactyl.
My thought is over.
Oh gosh.
That
High Score Challenge with Nick Verona.
All right, and welcome to another week of results. This week we played Buzzard Bait, the best game for the Coco 1 and 2, with 27 players. Mark B, 1,400. R. Ellen Murphy, 16,950. Adam Tandy Dragon Guy, 19,400. Marcy, 23,350. Ken Reichard, 24,150. Damon Beals, 31,000. Rogelio Perea, 31,550. Canadian Retro Things, 32,450. Frodo NL, 34,900. Joshua Craker, 39,600. OG Stevie Stroh, 42,900. Louis, 46,700. David Ladd, 51,200. 8-Bits in the Basement, 55,550. Nathan, 55,650. Tom C, 56,650. Mr. Dave, 59,750. Brendan Donahue, 60,650. Jim Rye, 81,050. AC's 8-Bit Zone, 82,300. David Craker, 97,000. Low Level, 100,250. Ben VR Drakes, 101,000. L. Curtis Boyle, 103,100. Tasman, 166,650. Chad Simpson, 204,950. And the number one score, protecting my honor, is me with 232,550. If I say way to go, that's going to sound egotistical, but thank you to all the participants in a fantastic week.
Don't worry, you still sounded egotistical.
Oh, good. That's what I was going for.
As long as that's what you were going for.
I'm going to share my
What was
screen share,
Curtis's
Mark.
score?
103,000 something.
Actually, I placed higher than I was expecting, so I'm pleasantly surprised.
And a lot of swearing.
Yeah, I'm not recording video on that one, that's for sure.
Well, I wasn't trying for low score, but I was trying to get the thing going. I just couldn't seem to get the winging.
Hold on, I'm having trouble. Just a sec.
Hopefully you'll do better with Lancer there, Mark, because it has smoother flying, as you'll
All right,
see.
I can fill in with the $5 uke. There we go.
Okay, what do you see?
I see.
Not a
panel.
darn thing.
Okay.
I see dead people.
Hold
I
on.
didn't see my score.
I see a bunch of.
Did I
see a
leave
bunch
you
of
out,
old men
Sloopy?
playing with a 30-year-old computer.
Sloopy,
Yep.
did I leave you out?
Yep. That's
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I'm so sorry.
It's all
That's
good.
actually a pretty elite club. I've been left off there before.
What
What was your score, Sloopy?
56, I think it was.
56
Oh, man.
total or 5,600?
56,000.
56. Okay.
Yeah,
I should
because
I should have scored a 56, but I didn't
Yeah.
didn't have time to participate this week.
Yeah, because it was before I figured out how to change the Coco 3 from high speed to low speed. And every time I played in low speed, I would only get about 30,000. So
This is weird. I'm not seeing the window to share. Let me try again.
Is that
I'm
maybe?
not seeing my browser window to share
yeah,
it.
10:13 p.m. on November 11th.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's all good.
Okay, Sloopy, my deepest apologies. So that means we actually had 28 players this week. I will add you to the list before that goes up on the in the Discord channel. What can you tell me again what your score was?
Let me look.
Well, it should be up on Discord, right?
Yeah, but I'd have to scroll through a bunch of things to get it.
Oh, he missed it the first time, so.
So here are the scores from back in the day. Again, could be accurate, may not be, not sure.
Is there one for like 3 gazillion?
Oh,
There's only 6 digits. So that means these people wrapped it twice.
I don't know. Yeah. So take it with a grain of salt.
There's an asbestos in Quebec.
And speaking of the participants, I wanted to give a special shout out to Joshua Quaker. He's one of our young players who was 7 when he started the challenge. And now he turned 8 last week. So happy belated birthday to Joshua Quaker. And I also want to acknowledge we have a couple of other sons who played this week. We have Nathan, who's AC's son, and Louis, who's 8-Bit's son. So we really enjoy having the fathers and sons who take part together. So thank you very much for participating.
Especially when the sons show up the fathers on the game scores. That's the best part.
Exactly. So, all right. So there are the scores here. And there's a review, which was favorable. I don't expect you to be able to read that, but.
I was going to send you the other reviews too. Sorry, Nick. I forgot to.
Oh, that's okay. So they liked this game. They thought it was an amazing game for showing what the Coco 1 and 2 are capable of. So yeah, I agree. Obviously, this is one of my favorite games. So here's some gameplay footage from Canadian Retro Things. Thank you for sending that in. And okay, well, I'm just going to start off to say you guys know this is my favorite game for the Coco Coco 1 and 2. So there's no real. You're not going to hear anything you didn't know already. I used to play this game a lot when I was a teenager, and when I had the Coco back in the day. And I've played it. This is the game I still play the most today of all the games on my Coco. I just like to fire it up and have a quick game here and there. Very faithful reproduction. It's got everything that the arcade has. And this isn't a slight on any future games, Curtis. It has like the lava hand and the lava and the fire and the everything. The board layout's the same, and the levels with the gladiator wave when you're 2-player, and everything's pretty much the same as the arcade. And I believe the guys who wrote this, Rugby Circle, were commissioned later on to create clones or create official Joust versions for other consoles. Isn't that correct, Curtis?
Yes, I can't remember which one they did. They also did. What was it? The Atari ST, the Amiga version. I think they did too. I can't remember the exact details, but yeah, they were commissioned to do the official port for some machines.
So that's really cool.
Like mention here too, there was other reviews of Buzzard Bait, Color Computer Magazine, the January 1984 issue. Reviews it as well. You can get that on the Color Computer Archive if you want to take a look at that one. And it was also in Hot Cocoa in the January 1984 issue. So it was actually 3 reviews.
And were they good reviews? Were they favorable?
From what I remember, yes. I just have I made a list of all the game reviews between the non-Rainbow magazines because we didn't have an index for those.
Oh,
so I actually do have something I can look up every once in a while. I should send you the whole list, then you can actually find it.
That'd be awesome. I always look in the Rainbow because we have that text searchable index. So I always
and I just manually made one just for games. I didn't I didn't make a full index. Yeah, and now Karen's actually done an index of Dragon User magazine, and some of these games were sold for the Dragon too. So maybe I'll grab that and we can use that as well for what they thought of the games on the other side of the pond.
No offense to Canadian Retro Things, the colors are inverted on this. If you hold down the F1 key, if you hold down the F1 key when you start up the computer, Coco, power it on or reset, it'll come up with a purple screen instead of green, and then this game will be orange lava instead of blue. Hey, this is the ice. This could be the ice planet, right?
Well, he mentioned in the comments too, I think something along the lines, in his world where you can ride an ostrich, lava is blue. So
well, there you go. Who says? Why are we putting him in a box? Who are we to put Canadian Retro Things in a box? I'm sorry, Ken. That's terrible. So anyway, what did you guys think of the game? And I welcome comments from Chad as well.
I'll save mine scathing comments for later if you guys want to.
Why don't you tell me why this is the best game for the Coco 1 and 2?
Actually, no, it's a mixed review for me. I got both versions, Lancer and Buzzard Bait, roughly around the same time, probably in '84, I think it was. And they both have strong points and both have weak points, and both are quite good. So I don't literally my favoritism is slight. It's not huge. It's not this game's way better.
In all fairness, it's a friendly rivalry we have. if we had Lancer and nothing else, I would have been happy with it. So I mean, it's
same thing with Buzzard Bait too. Yeah, it's nice we had a couple of good clones because there's some other arcade clones that we have multiple clones of for the Coco, where some are actually not very good and some are outstanding.
Pac-Man has no good clones on the Coco.
Yeah, it does. There's the Transco. There's
Wow,
Nyx.
okay, that's not a clone. I don't count that as a clone because that's the actual.
Well, Nyx is a clone. You didn't have the original
Nick.
code.
Yeah, Nick did a really good version. Was that
he
available
made it
back
really
in the,
difficult.
Was that available back in the day though?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Wow.
90.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
97.
So dang pterodactyls. Apparently, if you hit them in the mouth with your lance, you can kill them, but it's very difficult.
Yeah,
So
you probably have to line up with their tongue, I think, or something like that. Isn't
I've
it?
never actually done it. I just avoid them and, and lose a lot of lives. You
I've
get a life,
done it both in Lancer and in Buzzard Bait.
You
But
get a life
yeah, you're right.
every
It's not
10
easy.
You get a life every 10,000, thank goodness. And I'm going to switch over to another feed. I like to show all the videos we get. This one is by Ben VR Drakes. So let's go forward a little bit just to show some. So yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Anybody else have anything they want to say? Oh, James Diffendaff pointing out there are no buzzards in this game, to which I always say there's no donkeys in Donkey Kong either. So.
Well, there's donkeys in Donkey Kong, but usually that's the player.
Oh,
he's an ass.
Canadian Retro Things would call it blue raspberry lava. Oh, and we're supposed to be stop being nice to each other. So what? Do we have to turn in our Canadian passports? What do you want us to do? Oh, so David Craker is saying ahead of time, of the 3 Joust games, Buzzard Bait is by far the most fun, but the other 2 are also enjoyable. And he will keep an open mind for the next 2 weeks. Spoiler alert. But you guys already knew that. And he hates those pterodactyls. He lost almost all his lives to them. Yep, same.
Yep.
Pretty much
pretty well.
you get your free life every 10,000 and burn a few lives on each pterodactyl level.
I should mention, too, if I remember correctly, Buzzard Bait is actually the name of one of the levels in the arcade version, isn't it?
I think when it starts off, it says prepare to joust Buzzard Bait.
Yeah, so that's where the name came from.
And I think Buzzard Bait is like, when you die in the desert in Buzzard Circle, you become Buzzard Bait because you're dead. I think that's where the name comes from.
Oh, well, Buzzard Bait to me sounds like a Joust tribute band.
It could be. Their songs include what, like Joust and Fly Like an Eagle and...
I don't know. That's as far as I took that one.
Oh, I see. I took it and I went
they
further.
can't all be winners, so just...
I tried to make it better, and I don't think I did.
Now, do you guys have any strategies for playing this? Besides avoiding pterodactyls like the plague?
David Ladd is saying technically Pegasus and Phantom Virus isn't a clone of Joust. Oh, David's contesting that's a clone of Joust. Well, we'll talk about that next week. But
I think it would be considered Joust inspired, just kind of like
we'll do
Donna Bwana.
Yeah, I have it as a
is
Joust
Congo
derivative
Bongo
on my
inspired.
website on the derivatives page, which are arcade games that are a base for a Coco game, but the Coco takes it a different direction or changes a few things up to make it a little bit more unique. And Pegasus is under that.
It's definitely inspired by it. We'll talk about that during Point Counterpoint next week. We'll have a panel discussion.
What is this, the McLaughlin group?
Exactly. Joust is not Pegasus is not a clone of Joust. Jason, what do you say? Wrong. So I think the different colored players, just like the arcade version, have different skills. The blue ones are the ones that stick closest to the sky, to the top of the screen. And then the red and white ones have, I think, differing levels of, or orange and white, I should say, have differing skill levels or different flight patterns, maybe. Somebody mentioned in Discord later on, and I agree with them, that bouncing off the ceiling is a great way to take out a few of those birds and sort of bounce off one under the other and stuff.
Yeah,
So
and sometimes you
fun.
bounce into a bird on the underside, so then you die.
Yeah, you got to keep your eye on the other side and make sure nobody's wrapping around. And there's an annoying bug I noticed with the egg. If the egg is halfway off the screen, like on the ledge that's there currently, and if it's halfway off the screen, you can't get it until it turns into a man. You just go through it. So I found that kind of annoying. And, there's also a bug sometimes where if you hit the stacked ledges on the right there, if you hit them a certain way, you go through. you threw where the top ledge is over the bottom ledge if you go at it at an angle. So I don't know if that's a bug.
Arcade homage, because you can do that in the arcade. And
Okay.
it's one of those little secret tricks that some people used. You
Oh.
can zoom through there and get one of the knights that's flying on the bottom level.
Oh, okay. So they put that in there on purpose then. So that's good. So yeah, you can actually go through that where the one ledge is stacked on top of the other.
And one thing I will mention, this goes for any of the Joust clones. 2-player simultaneous mode is awesome. That was something the arcade had too in one of the earlier games that did it. Because there are some waves where you get bonus points if you help each other, like the survival waves.
That's
and then
4
there's
and
other
9.
ones where you're supposed to try to kill the other player, to be
yes.
greedy and get extra points. So
Yeah, that's 4 and 9.
this was really fun to play with siblings.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
I seem to recall I played. It's also a little bit easier in that you can divide and conquer the enemies. I seem to recall I played this with one of my sisters, and actually wrapped the game around level 100. Back. This was back in the day. I can't. The best I did this time was somewhere in the 20s. I don't.
So if you wrapped 100, did you wrap the score too?
I don't remember the score. I just remember being interested in the level number. I wanted to see what would happen to the level number, and that wrapped. But I don't remember what happened to the score. All I know is it didn't crash. It kept playing until we died. So.
I got a question. Is that stinky poop at the bottom, or is that a fire?
It's fire.
Oh.
It's lava on fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
it actually burns the ledge off when it erupts at an earlier level.
So it's a very faithful arcade translation. Except possibly the flight mechanics, you'd probably say, right, Curtis? I think the flight in
the two things that I would say are different than the arcade is the flight mechanics is one, and then two, the players and the enemies are proportionally quite a bit larger.
Yeah, you have less space to fly around in proportionally.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I do prefer Lancer. Unfortunately, that the take back from that is that also they're not as detailed, so they don't look as good. So it's a give or take thing.
Yeah. So it's a preference. I guess we're getting a little bit.
Poor animals getting fried down there.
Actually, Lavatrol's got a hold on him. That's one thing they did better in Buzzard Bait than Lancer. The Lavatrol actually has the hand come out, whereas the Lancer one just sucks you in like it's a black hole or something. So,
8-Bits in the Basement made a comment. I don't know if this is about Joust. It's probably about Joust. Ready Player One says Player 1 is on an ostrich, 2 on a goose, and the AI are buzzards. At least according to the idiot in the book.
Well, that's Tim Linder.
Play it. Yeah, I remember they play it in the book, but I don't remember the exact setup.
I like David Craker's comment too. He said 2 players of Blast and Buzzard Bait. Joshua destroyed me in the Gladiator wave and felt pretty good about it.
I'm sure he did. Revenge is a you-know-what. Scott Cooper played digital analog. He preferred the deluxe joystick the best. Yeah, I preferred the Black Beauty. This definitely took into account analog. So you could kind of alter your flight trajectory with the analog stick, which I don't think Joust was analog. Joust was digital, so that might have been an enhancement if I'm correct. So
I'm not sure. I played with a deluxe joystick myself in my brief foray into it. So
yeah, I never tried the deluxe joystick, but I like the round edge of the Black Beauty, so I played with the Black Beauty. Terry Steen said Buzzard Bait was his favorite. So good and so like the arcade. So yeah, a lot of people really like this game.
Yeah, I can't remember which one of those two came out first. I think Lancer might have beat Buzzard Bait to market by just a couple months, maybe. So maybe that's another reason too. I might have gotten it first, and you know the first love thing.
Yeah, could be. Well, I never played Lancer at all, so this is the one I played a lot. So probably why I love it so much. But even back in the day, it was the game I played the most. Just fire it up and play.
And this is one of those ones too, where a fairly well-known software company, the Rugby Circle, because they did stuff for the Tier City Model 1s and 3s. They did other Coco games too, like Death Traps, one off the top of my head, Color Caterpillars, another. But they didn't actually sell them themselves. They sold them through Tom Mix, so they had this kind of arrangement thing, which was a little bit different.
Anyone know why pterodactyl has a P?
Because he drinks much
the way
water.
the scientists spelled it. Is it Latin or something? I'm not even sure. Like the real flying dinosaur thingy is spelled that way.
I like Nick's answer better.
What, he drinks water?
You drink too much water. That's why you can't hear them go to the bathroom, because the P is silent. I got 2 of them. Those are them. That's it.
Scott Cooper says, I think a shorter stick on the analog sticks works better for him too. So yeah, there seems to be a few people who like the Black Beauty on this.
Yeah.
Just cut it off. Cut the stick off.
Grab it part way down.
Well, if you got the old silver tipped Black Beauties, you can actually just unscrew the handle and then you have the short stick.
James Jones says pterodactyl equals wing finger, if I remember rightly. So possibly. Oh, dactyl means fingers for sure, or hand. I know that. I learned that on Jeopardy the other day. So yeah, it could be. And,
yeah, because there's a condition for cats if they have too many fingers on their paws. It's something dactyl, isn't it?
It's polydactyl.
Yes.
My cat Rocky is a polydactyl. He has an extra toe on his front paws.
Oh, somebody pointed out, and this is mentioned on your site too, Curtis, that the Buzzard Bait for the Dragon required a dongle to load.
Yeah.
That plugged into the joystick port, correct?
That I don't remember. 60 can tell us that's Karen in the chat room there, the author of XWAR, so he'll know.
Yeah.
'Cause he would have to simulate some of this stuff or at least test with it.
Yeah.
Funky Fish for 400 there. Nick.
Yeah. So probably, if it was a joystick port, it probably did some sort of sequence of numbers that the game was looking for or something.
Who knows?
I wonder. Yep, left joystick port while loading. Okay.
Oh, so it was probably some type of resistance check or something it was looking for.
So does that mean you could cheat and actually just move the joystick to a certain spot that would match whatever the dongle does and load it anyway?
I gotta wonder. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I wonder if you put that in and printed the joystick values, if you could see what it was doing.
But then you would have to exactly hit 6224 or whatever. And
Yeah, but if you wrote a basic program ahead of time, moved it to that position, and then loaded it.
Steady.
Oh, wait, 60's saying he hasn't emulated it yet, but he's pretty sure it just alternates between 2 different values. Okay, forget my idea then, because you'd have to flip the joystick back and forth.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that'd be interesting, because that's...
and we never saw copy protection based on the joystick port here that I remember. I mean, we've got a few things that require the hardware to run, like CoCoMax, original versions anyway, but we never had copy protection like that. We had, weird sectors on a disk or something like that, but not extra hardware like that.
Well, and what disk wasn't all that popular with the Dragon, so...
Yeah, mainly because of the price.
Yeah.
Because I think proportionally, you could probably buy like 3 Dragons for the price of 1 disk drive.
I don't know if Kieran's joking, but he says need to take a scope to it. I'd be interested to hear what it does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, Nick, I sent you on Discord in the private chat between us the text file that contains the links to the other.
Oh, great.
So you can use that in the future. If you want to, after the game news, if you want to take a look at those and see if there's anything you want to repeat from those at the end of that, we can kind of revisit the reviews too.
Okay. So are we pretty much done with this one?
Maybe.
Sounds like we've...
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too many strategies for this one, really.
Yeah, hang around.
The egg wave, I try to kill off. I try to get all the eggs as quickly as possible so they don't launch.
I tend to hang around here when the birds are spawning. You see my cursor?
Okay.
You see my cursor on the screen there? I hang over this ledge on the middle ledge on the left. That's where I like to hang while the birds are spawning and just get these guys and get the ones coming through and hop up here. That I usually can clear 3-4 of them right at the beginning by starting over here. And when I play with my when I play a 2-player, usually one player will be here and one player will be on the other side here. I don't like to start at the bottom. It's too, even when that ledge isn't there, the bottom ledge. I like to start always on this ledge with the left hand middle ledge.
Yeah, I usually try to stay up on near the top of the screen myself too. Actually, that's on both versions.
Yeah.
Mainly because if you're underneath, that's more opportunity for people to fall on you, and you always die if you're the lower one. Or if you try to fly up, you might hit somebody. So if you're up high, that eliminates a bunch of them from being able to do that right off the bat. So I think it's safer.
Yeah, because sometimes the birds will get smart and just like be on top. You just drop down, so you don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it for strategy. Oh, and for the score, because we're going for score, the first couple levels I would kind of milk. I'd get the egg, I'd kill the guy, let the egg hatch, get him again, let the egg hatch until
you get bored.
No, until the pterodactyl comes out. Doesn't like
right, yeah.
Long.
Yeah.
So
that's far less boring.
Even on level 1, the pterodactyl comes out. in not too long of a time. So I'd milk it 2-3 times just to get an extra. Especially if you catch the egg, you get a 500-point bonus for catching the egg before it hits the ground. So you get 750 or 1,000 bonus every time. So
now Sloopy had mentioned playing this at double speed. Did anybody else try that? Like, is it a lot faster? Or I didn't try that personally.
I didn't try it.
I personally think it's fast enough. I don't think I'd want it running at double speed.
Yeah,
I didn't do that intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't play it like that intentionally.
Well, when you played it both ways, though, did you find double speed like too fast, or did it actually help the game?
Actually, it wasn't too bad. The biggest issue I had at double speed was getting to the top of the screen because you had to push the button faster to go up. And things like timed things happen faster, like Pterodactyl came out sooner.
Oh, yeah, because the timer would be running twice as fast, too. I'm pretty sure this is not frame locked.
Somebody's asking. Oh, okay. 8-Bits asked if the Dactyl was killable only on level 8, and Curtis answers should be on all levels. Yeah, it should be on all levels.
Yeah.
I think every time it says unbeatable in quotes with a question mark, so that's a hint that it's always killable. Just very hard.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. And
I've done it by
Murphy,
accident.
Alan Murphy, you might remember this better than I do, but was there a strategy for killing the Pterodactyl in the arcade version?
Yeah, there were some people that figured out how to do it fairly easily, but I never found the way. It's just that you had to time it based on how the pterodactyl flapped its wings.
Okay. Yeah, because I never figured it out in any of the versions of the Coco, what the strategy was. I could do it once in a blue moon by accident, but definitely not with any predictability.
Well, practically what you had to do, you had to get the thing, the lance, in his throat, but.
Yeah, and I can't remember. Did you have to hit it when the mouth was open, or could you kill it when the mouth was closed?
No,
when the mouth is open.
Only when the mouth is open.
In the arcade, it would lunge at you with its mouth open. I don't know, and I don't know if this does as well. Oh, and that reminds me too. There's 2 versions of the game: one that makes a sound and one that doesn't. Apparently, I think you said that on your site, Curtis.
I did. Okay, I don't remember that, but it's quite possible. So. Buzzard Bait was been a page I did a long time ago.
Yeah, one where because in the arcade the buzzard made a screeching sound when it lunged at you. So,
yeah, Terry Steen is saying you had to stab it in the tongue when the mouth was open.
When the mouth was open,
which is a single pixel high. So good luck.
I thought it kept its mouth open when it lunged at you, but I could be wrong on that. My memories of Joust. It's funny. I didn't really play Joust much in the arcade, and I will say this game. This game is easier than Joust in the arcade was. I mean I don't know if Lancer was as generous with the extra lives as Buzzard Bait was, because free life every 10,000.
I don't think so. You had more room to maneuver to dodge. That was the one thing was a bit easier as far as the pterodactyl went. But
so I will admit, in some ways, this game is probably easier than Joust and Lancer and whatnot.
Some ways it's easier, some ways it's harder. I mean, like as you've pointed out, Buzzard Bait, you will spawn all the enemies in one shot, like continuously. Whereas Lancer will limit it to 4 at a time.
Let's see if the pterodactyl does lunge, and it looks like he keeps his mouth open. Let's see if he does it again. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell if the mouth stays open or not. I can't focus on the.
Is this Chet's game or whose game?
No, Chet didn't make a video. I don't think this is Canadian Retro Things again.
Oh, okay.
Canadian Retro Things and Ben VR Drake submitted videos this week. Thank you guys for doing that.
Ben says, I killed the dactyl in my first attempt at the challenge by accident.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it's done, by accident. Oh, yeah, when there's more than one pterodactyl and you're only one player, forget it.
Yeah. Oh, and both versions do that, too. So that's, if you dilly-daddle too long on a level, you're going to get just a screen full of them.
Oh, except Canadian Retro Things will prove us wrong.
If you dilly-dally, you'll get dactyled.
Oh, he did it. Yeah. Good.
So I wonder if Ben has put this game on his 3D frame.
Yeah, I want to see him jump around trying to flap his arms there. That would be awesome.
Oh, yes.
How does treadmill?
That would be amazing. Oh, my gosh. All right. Are we ready to talk about next week's game?
Yep. It's not really a secret because of the special sequence we're doing this time. But
exactly. For those who pay attention at home, we're going to continue the Joust theme. Whether this is a Joust clone or not, we'll talk about that next week. But The Canadian Retro thinks this isn't me. The score is too high. What? I don't know. I gotta talk to him. Anyway, our game next week is Pegasus and the Phantom Riders, which is a joust-inspired game at the very least. You're riding a winged horse, and it's the same rules. You have to be positioned higher than your enemy, and instead of eggs, crosses go to the ground, and you have to go get them. And it has these fancy dithered graphics, and the stage changes. You actually fly towards the island as you get further.
Yeah,
as you see. So,
it's got little niceties too, like the little sharks swimming in the water. There's a thing that launches fireballs at you from the water too, and so it's definitely a derivative, not a clone. It takes the gameplay elements of the flying the thing and trying to hit something from above type thing, but it does add some extra elements. And the pseudo 3D of flying towards the islands as you go through the stages, I always thought that was pretty awesome.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the beginning. I want to go back to, I want to show Canadian Retro Things something. That looks like Canadian Retro Things to me. He's saying that's not his game, but look. So if somebody is either cloning you or you forgot. So our game next week is Pegasus and the Phantom Riders. And I thought it'd be good to do it in this order. So, well, a couple of reasons. One, it works out fortuitously for our birthdays. And two, it breaks up the joust a little bit with birds versus horses. I thought, mix it up a little bit anyway. So hopefully you guys will take part. And it'll be great to see what you guys can do with this game next week. And thank you, Mark. And thank you, everybody who played. Thank you, panel. And thank you all. Good night.
Is there a Pegasus game that's OS 9?
Not that I'm aware of. There's Cave Walker for OS 9, which is kind of a download sequel.
Okay.
And it's by Spectral, the same people that did Pegasus. But
okay.
All right. What do you say we run a commercial break and then go into the
Game On news?
Yeah, the Game On.
Hi, this is Eddie Zerbinski from beautiful Quebec City. Vous écoutez CoCoTALK.
As you're enjoying CoCoTALK, we also want to remind you about the Coco Discord server. This is a place where people come to connect, to ask questions, to provide answers, to share information, and to socialize. So when you're done, why don't you head on over to the Coco Discord server and we'll continue the conversation there. The easy to remember link is discord.cocotalk.live. See you on Discord. CoCo123 is the Glenside Color Computer Club community newsletter that's been in publication since 1985. While the Rainbow magazine may be gone, it doesn't mean you still can't have a cool Coco periodical. Head on over to the Glenside Color Computer website at glensideccc.com and then click on the Documents link to view all the past issues of the CoCo123 newsletter. Not only can you read all of the past and present issues, we'd also love to hear some submissions from you. So if you'd like to send an article, a column, something to talk about, maybe even a program listing, send an email to glensideccc@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. The Coco World Map is a cool community resource where you can view coconuts from around the world. Head on over to map.cocotalk.live and see where your fellow Coconutians happen to be living on the planet Earth. If you would like to submit yourself to be on the Coco Map, send an email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live, and we look forward to seeing you on the Coco Map. Hey guys, it's Stevie Strode. If you've been watching CoCoTALK for a while, hopefully you understand that everyone is welcome to join this show. You don't need an impressive resume to get on. You just need to enjoy the Coco and be willing to talk about it. There is no wrong way to cocoa. There is no wrong way to be a fan of the cocoa. There's no wrong way to be on CoCoTALK. You just have to want to talk cocoa. So if you would like to join us, then reach out to us on our Discord server, which is discord.cocotalk.live, or send an email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live, and let's get you on the show and let's talk about the cocoa.
Hi, I'm Tim, and you're watching CoCoTALK Live. And I'm playing Daggerath online like that idiot from the book.
Can you dial back on the condescension there as you respond there?
Okay. You have to wait till I can share the screen.
Yeah, I gotta find where the button is. There it is.
Okay, and then I gotta make sure I share the right screen. That's the next one. Hey, you guys seen that? Retro Rick? Okay, so Retro Rick, who is Richard Kelly, he's been doing some Coco Games programming lately. We've featured his Ladderman 2 game, which is a basic game, actually quite a good one, a platformer with multiple levels, like dozens. But he's been uploading some gameplay video demos to his YouTube channel. So he's got 3 up so far. So he's got his artillery game for the Coco 1 and 2, and he's got a maze maker for the Coco 3, and not another expressway ripoff for the Coco 1 and 2. So check those out. He just re-uploaded them too. He originally put some up that were pretty bad quality. And then he just redid them all. Now they're in really good quality. So you can check those out. I won't play them here because they're a little bit long in some cases, but definitely go check them out. Cuthbert Dragon. Now he's a guy that did some Dragon videos way back, and he plays on real hardware, so he's always filmed it on the CRTs. He just started firing up his Dragon again recently and has been doing gameplay videos again. But one thing he's changed this time is on almost all of the videos, he's actually got a picture of the original cassette case for the Dragon version of the game. So you get to see the actual artwork and stuff that was sold for the Dragon. And I will be honest here, the UK did much better at doing artwork for their cassette cases and discs than we ever did in North America. Ours were just basically generic labels with the name of the company. It might be a color label if you're lucky. They did full color graphics on these things. So I don't know how well these are showing up or shrunk down, but I mean, like Speed Racer and Planet Invasion, Space Sport, Phantom Slayer, Cuthbert in the Jungle, Cashman. I mean, they all got this beautiful artwork. I'm not going to play a bunch of these here, but just to show you some of them, if you guys want to take a look through the list on the screen, you people here on the panel, and just pick 1 or 2 you want to see, and I'll fire up the video long enough so you can see what the artwork looks like.
Space War.
Cashman.
Okay, Space War first. He also picks theme music for each, and he tries to pick something that fits. Sometimes if it's an arcade clone, he'll actually take the arcade music and play it. So that's Space War. What was one you said, Jason?
Cashman.
Okay.
Looks like
Wonder if that looks like ours.
Where was Cashman?
Bottom center.
There we are. So that's actually from the ad that I think Rainbow had shown for 1 or 2 months before they just made it as part of the general Computer Shack ad. Would you see it's like nicely painted and...
Is the game just like the one we play?
Yes, except it's PAL, so they had to play with the P-Mode 3 color sets, or they had to play black and white because they didn't have artifact colors.
Okay. That's a great game.
Yes.
Have we played that yet on our...
Did we, Nick? I can't even remember.
I think we did, didn't we? No.
Oh,
I can't remember.
Nick, I'll have to check the master list of Game On Challenge.
Yes, I believe we did.
I thought so too.
But I will
Okay,
double check.
and I'll do 1 or 2 more here, and then we'll go on to the next segment. But you guys want to pick another 1 or 2 to look at?
Frogger.
Okay,
We all
and if
know
somebody
what
wants to pick
Frogger
a
looks
dragon-specific one, so we can see something that we wouldn't have seen here. And that artwork there is right from the Cornsoft Group's full-page ad they did when they released Frogger for the Coco. Well, actually, they used the same artwork when they did the Model 1 and 3 versions as well.
Cornsoft.
Yeah, the Cornsoft group. They did a few Coco games. They did Scarf Man, which is one of the very few 4K machine language games released. They did Frogger. They did Avenger, which is talking about derivative games again. It's kind of a derivative of Defender. It's not quite the same as No Humans to Rescue, but they did add a few things like a mothership and mutant waves and stuff too. So now, if you guys want to pick a dragon-specific one, so he's got a few here. He's got Toppler. He's got Pit Fiend, Leggett, Jet Boot Colin, Robin Hood.
Is Danger Ranger?
Danger Ranger's Coco one too.
Oh.
It was actually first on the Coco. Ugg was another one that was dragon only. So if you guys want to pick one of those, we'll take a look at one.
Robin Hood, I guess.
And that's got Cuthbert in it as Robin Hood. the mascot for the dragon. And you notice this is one of these dirt cheap pocket money softwares, like £2 back, like $5 maybe. They had a lot more of those. I mean, we didn't have really a cheap software company. I think Tomix's Novasoft's probably the closest, where they dropped the prices down to $15 to $20 instead of the 25 to 40 that most were. The closest we had were the cassette magazines like Chromaset and T&D and that kind of thing. So they actually had these here, selling for dirt cheap prices.
And then later, T&D had some of the Tom Mix stuff on them later. That's how I got.
Yeah, after Tom Mix got out of selling them themselves, they also resold Spectral and a few other companies too. That Computerware, I think, might even had some in there. They eventually got several companies' catalogs and just put one or two on each tape as the months went on.
I want a Dragon Cup now.
Yeah, that's a nice cup, isn't it?
Yeah.
I also understand if you bought the Amstrad game machine, you could buy those $2 tape games for 25 pounds in a cartridge. So you got that going.
Actually, Dragon you could too, because quite a few of the games there were sold on cartridge that never were here.
But they would just take a tape game that you get for $2, put it on a cartridge. Here you go, buy it.
Yeah. it made a little bit of sense because, I mean, if you watch some of the bigger games getting loaded, like some of the channels on YouTube show people loading the game in, and it's sometimes like a 3-minute wait if it's a 32K game. So, the cartridge is just like bang, you're on and you're playing. So
I left my computer on 3-4 games at a time.
Instant loading program packs.
Yeah. I guess did you need the instant gratification? Was that worth the 10 times the price difference? I guess. I don't know. Wasn't for me, but. I mean, I thought that was really cool, and he's actually been just blasting the other. He actually threw out a couple just this morning, so I'm enjoying seeing the artwork here because it's nice seeing it. You can find some of the artwork on the Dragon archive as well. People have scanned in the tape instructions and the labels and stuff, but it's just nice kind of seeing it in its original case right beside a Dragon mug, and then the gameplay right afterwards. It's nice and convenient. Next up, Jim Gary, and we covered this last week. He's working on porting a program called Warren's World: The Lost Colony, which is a strategy game a simulation strategy that he's been porting from a PC, and he's got an update to it here as he gradually gets the gameplay closer and closer to being finished. I'm pretty sure this will require the 16K expansion or maybe even the MCX eventually, depending on how much memory it uses, but it's similar along the lines of like Erland or Castle Grey Moon or Viking and some of the other simulations like that, where you're in command of a kingdom and you have to distribute food, etc. So I used to play these a lot back in the late 80s. Now I just don't have the time or inclination to really play them. But the only one of these type of games I still play semi-regularly would be Gangbusters, because you're a mobster and you have to kill people to get your bones and buy bulletproof cars and stuff. So. Next up here, I will mention the Color Computer Archive, which is, it's updated constantly, and I literally could spend, a sequence on every single show of what news has been uploaded. But what I want to point out here is that he's updated the Coco Games collection for the SDC as well as the Drive Pack. With the latest games from the archive. Now, I thought this was a complete set of all the games, and I took a closer look at it. It's not. So I'm not sure exactly what the criteria was for getting onto this. But it does include a lot of the stuff that's been uploaded in the last month or two. And this is different because the normal ones in the archive have one game per disk image. So basically, if you want, Buzzard Bait, you get Buzzard Bait. And Nick, that's a legal one. We've got permission to distribute, so I can mention that. So this one here, he's actually got 5 to 20 games per disk image, and there's 83 disk images in this collection. So it's a ton of the games. I didn't, figure out the exact count. and it does have some of the newer ones that have just been uploaded recently. So it's a pretty good collection. I would like to see, because he's done these full SDC updates before, where it's like the entire Coco library, every single thing on the archive on one zip file you download, and it has everything. But those are all the single disc ones. So for those who have smaller SD cards or actually want to transfer these to real discs and not have to, manually copy stuff to not waste room, it'd be nice to get a collection like this for the entire games library. Plus, it's just the game. So if that's all you're interested in, you don't have to get all the other stuff like all the word processors and terminal programs and operating systems and everything else. But if you want to get some of the latest games without having to hunt them all down one at a time, grab it. He's got a text file in there that tells you exactly what disk image number, because they're numbered, disk 0, 1 to 83, and it'll tell you exactly which disks contain what games. So you can find them pretty quick just by doing a search in a text editor. Our own Stevie, I think this was last Sunday, if I remember correctly, finally decided to play Nick's game. And as Nick and I predicted, he was horrible at it, but he got better. And once again, it's because he didn't read directions. So a lot of us in the chat were throwing suggestions. I think Nick Marentes, I think you joined the call and kind of gave him some tips and pointers and rules and stuff too, didn't you? Nick Marentes fall asleep already?
I tried giving him some pointers, and he's like, nah, that's like reading the manual.
Yeah, that's typical Stevie.
On a veggie might break.
Anyway, he did a lot better as it went on. He kind of got into the game a bit too, because at the beginning he was almost ready to quit. But he decided to extend it out because he wanted to do a Coco Live marathon. So he actually did some other games too. And some of them he just took a brief look at and kind of went, nah, I'm not in the mood for that. So I wanted to mention a few of them here that he did. So he did Buzzard Bait, because that was the challenge game. Did he submit a score officially, Nick?
Yes, he did.
He did. Okay. And then he did a brief preview of Jupiter Patrol. And then he did Legend Quest, which is one actually I hadn't seen before either. I'd heard of it, but I'd never seen it. Mazeland, which is one of the tape-based magazine games we were just talking about earlier, by Andrew Perkursky, who's like proficient. I mean, he put out a game nearly every month for both Chromaset and TND. So he was just cranking out the games. And he had some really good original ones and some really good sound routines. He had some pretty amazing sound effects. He also did Cuthbert Goes Walkabout, which is a clone of the arcade Amadar. And then he did one at the end very briefly, and I don't remember what it was. Oh, Shenanigans. They just did a brief preview of Shenanigans. So if you want to catch some hot gaming action from Steve and watch him get frustrated, it's a perfect video to show you that.
It's great if you want to see level 1 of all these games.
Well, actually, he got better. Like I said, at Pipes, he actually got up to level, I don't know what he got up to, about 5 or 6, I think, later on. So he actually was starting to get the hang of it. Next up, and this is a new channel that I have not seen before for making hardware for the Dragon. And this is a demonstration video of Dragon UI Tape, which is a Maxduino firmware for hardware solution for the Dragon 32, which lets you SD card adapters. But because disk drives weren't that popular, this actually works on cassette images. You put all your cassette files onto the SD card, and then you load them off on here. Now, he's already sold out, I think, if I remember correctly. He had a bunch of them for sale, or, it's basically, it's kind of like Ed Snyder. He's kind of in, the European version of Ed Snyder for that kind of thing, where he makes, something super popular and they just sell it in like a day, and then you have to wait till he gets another batch. The video's not too long. I did want to show this because it's kind of an interesting take on the SD card. It's a bit more advanced in some ways than the SDC. So I'll let this play through and get your feedback on the other side. You guys can hear that, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Hello everybody. This is just a quick video to show you how to load up games on a Dragon 32
Is that loud enough or need me
micro
louder?
SD card. This is my latest device. It's called the Dragon Tape. It's based on the Maxduino firmware. God bless Raphael, the guy who develops Maxduino, because he's knocking out a new version of that firmware every month with some new feature and new supported retro computer. So thank you, Raphael, for continuing the support. The idea is that you put a micro SD card in this device with your favorite game on there with or games. You can typically fit thousands of games on one micro SD card. The file format for Dragon 32 is .cas, so you need the game in .cas format. So you find the game you want to load. In our case, it's going to be Chucky Egg. You put the Dragon 32 into load mode.
The screen's up in the upper right corner.
And
It's
then
pretty small.
you press play. And then it loads Chucky Egg. So it's going to take a few minutes to load, and what we'll do is I'll pause the video and come back when we're near the end. Okay, we're very close to the end of the game being loaded. Oh, there you go.
And you can see Chucky Eggs running in the monitor up in the upper right corner.
Chucky Eggs loaded. Let me just mute the volume. How you like the device? I actually got quite a close colour match with the plastic as well. I've been looking for ages for beige plastic because I have other devices that I usually spray beige, right? Yeah, so I'm really chuffed that I've got a beige plastic now. Anyway, if you like this device and want to find out more about it and maybe others, then just head over to www.youmakerobots.com. Thank you for watching.
So I thought that was a pretty cool device. It has a little screen on it, so you can see where it is in loading the tape. You have a percentage indicator, so it tells you how long you got left to wait. It's Arduino based. He does have it for sale, but he's, like I mentioned before, he's already sold out. So, and here's his little web page with just some information on it here. But what did you guys think of that as far as a different type of an SD card solution?
I wonder how it works with those Disney games that have the cassette and audio tracks mixed together.
Aaron, I think, if I remember correctly, I think he does support that in XWAR. And I'm assuming this would work the same way. But Karen, if you're still in the chat there and if you've had any experience with this, if you want to let us know, I'm not really sure.
Right. So does it have a remote jack to support the motor on, motor off thing that they use?
Yeah, because looking at that picture here, it looks like he's got two cables plugged, which would be the read and write. I don't know. Does he have the remote? Let me back this up here a bit. Doesn't look like it.
Does the Dragon have that?
I would imagine it does.
His cable has 3 outs.
Okay. Well,
but only 2 of them are plugged in.
Yeah, the other one looks like USB or something, or power maybe.
Well, no, but if you look at the cable coming up from the left-hand side, there are 3 outputs from the cassette cable.
Oh yeah, it looks like the other one's kind of looping around or something. Oh, maybe that's.
And the other one is just kind of drooped off the back, so maybe it doesn't.
Okay, 8-Bits in the basement saying, I don't think it does. It has a remote jack, it has a cassette out jack, and a power. I think he means read jack and out jack. Because you need the earphone to read programs in, you need the microphone to write programs out. And then remote was to, control the motor on-off commands. But if Sixie, if you're still in the chat there, if you want to just let us know, because I'm sure you've played with this a bit too. Or 8-Bits in the basement, I mean, if you've played with it a bit too. 8-Bit says he built one about a year ago. So does it have the remote jack where you can actually do the motor on-off commands to control it for, like Jason mentioned, or whoever it was, that if you have a game that's a mixed, actually I think it was Alan, a mixed bit of audio that you play in between scenes or something that the computer would control when it plays. Like some of the reading books, like on the Coco that Tandy sold, did that too. It'd be interesting to know. Oh, it does have the remote jack. Cool. Then theoretically, yeah, that should work. You should be able to have the CAS file immediately followed by a WAV file or something, as long as the OS supports the one that's built into the Arduino that's kind of handling it, allows the playing of a WAV file or whatever as literal sound data. Then it should be able to pump it in with audio on, motor on. Yeah, second confirmation that it has the motor on, off, and relay. So yeah, it does support all 3 jacks by the sounds of it.
Oh, then that would be a win for those games.
2 jacks. It has the motor on, off, and the out. It does not support recording.
Oh, really? That other gray cable then is just the remote? So you can't save to it?
Right. The gray cable, the larger gray cable would be the one that you would use for saving. So there you go.
Okay, I'm surprised they don't support saving. I thought that would have been a given.
Actually, I've looked at some of these Arduino tape things because I was thinking about some of that stuff, and unfortunately, all the firmware only supports playing the CAS files. It doesn't support recording, unfortunately. That would be a nice feature.
Yeah, you just write it to the SD card. So,
yeah, but I was thinking for like save states for games, like some of the adventure games used to have a save state. You couldn't do it on here.
You couldn't save your Daggerath save on there.
Hopefully they add that feature because I think it would be useful, especially people that actually want to do development on the Dragon. And they had a real keyboard, so it's a bit easier than it would be on the the original F-board CoCos with the chiclet. But anyway, it's a pretty interesting solution for doing the CAS files and stuff, and it has a nice LED screen that kind of shows you exactly what's going on. That part I do like. Almost wish the SDC had that.
And you get the experience. I mean, you're going to wait for the tape. It's just not putting a tape in it. You put an SD card in it.
Yeah, with a ton of tape files, and you just do use those up and down arrows on that he's got on there to go through and figure out which one you want to load. And it's pretty cool. And 8-Bits in Basement said it works for me on everything but my Coco 2. I wonder why it doesn't work on a Coco 2. That's kind of odd. Anyway, for the people in the UK that actually have these, or in Europe in general, if they want to send us an email with maybe some more details, I'd love to get some more details on this because it's an interesting project that we don't have an equivalent of here. Next up, this was a bit of a surprise. Matchy, whom was pretty active in the Coco community and Discord and stuff here, between 2 years ago and a year ago, and actually produced some pretty cool semi-graphics demos and semi-graphics games, and then he kind of disappeared for a while. Has come back, and he rejoined the Color Computer group on Facebook, and he actually set up an itch.io for his Doodle Jump game, which is actually a pretty cool port of, I think it's an Android game or something, where you have to fly up the levels and you pick up rocket packs and you have to land on the platforms. If you miss, you fall off the screen and die type thing. So it's pretty cool. And it's one of those ones where he's not charging a specific amount for it. You can contribute money to him if you want. I think he deserves it because he's done a lot of work on this. And I know he had some personal problems that probably was related to why he kind of disappeared from the community for a while. So, have a little bit of support from, I think, would go a long way. So I definitely encourage it. This game we actually did show about a year ago too, and it's a pretty cool little game.
And it supports the Coco PSG.
Oh, does it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I went ahead and grabbed that this morning, threw him some money for support, and one of the reasons was because it says it supports Coco PSG, and I think that's kind of cool. I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, so definitely, I missed that when I took a quick look at it this morning here that it supports Coco PSG. So it has like full music soundtrack playing in the background. Was it used for sound effects or both?
I haven't got the Coco PSG set up again yet to check.
Oh, okay.
just grabbed it a little while ago.
Okay. But yeah, definitely, we want to recommend that for the people that are asking for money, especially if it's like this is kind of like the modern day version of shareware, where you get to contribute what you want. But we definitely want to encourage people to do that because it encourages the developers to keep producing stuff. We can't all be Nicks and afford Lamborghinis and Ferraris and stuff. So it's
we all can't write pipes.
What's under the more information tab?
Let me take a look.
I bet it's additional information.
That's all. Yep.
Yeah,
it's out there.
But he was demoing some other game engines. He was doing like a 3D pole position thing where he had I think palm trees and stuff flying by in 3D and stuff. Like he's got some really good ideas, and he's done some excellent work with semi-graphics that Erico and some others have been playing with, and Nick as well, obviously with Rally SG and pipes. So yeah, definitely throw him some money and get a copy of the game if you can, because it's a pretty good one. And with PSG support, I actually want to hear what that sounds like. So Alan, maybe if you want to do a demo of it next week and kind of show us, because I don't have a PSG here to demo it with.
And just for everybody out there, what is a Coco PSG again?
It's an add-on card that includes flash RAM, flash ROM, digital joystick ports, and the upgraded version or a later generation version of the same kind of sound chip that's in the Speech Sound Pack. So the Speech Sound Pack has an AY3 8910 sound chip in it. And later on, Yamaha made a version that has higher resolution counters called the YM2149, or software controlled sound generator. And that's what's in the Coco PSG. So it programs the same as the sound chip, register for register, in the speech sound cartridge, but you have the game ports are wired up, and they do support Sega gamepads, as well as some of the other more extended digital joystick features that are out there.
Oh yeah,
it's a great little device. If you plug it into a Coco 1 or 2, you essentially have 512K of RAM, 512K of flash ROM, joystick ports, and a sound device in the cartridge slot. You pair that with a Coco VGA, and you've got a whole lot of added game capability on a Coco 1 or 2.
And the Coco PSG is sold by who?
It's
the Zipstar.
Just wanted to make sure people knew that, so if they know where to go find it.
Zipster's own.
I don't know
think
if
he even still has some up.
Has he? Okay.
Go ahead, Nick. What was the other thing you were saying?
I don't know if he still has them available. That's all.
It's part of his rotation through his hardware, I think. He's been really busy with that new MC10 board, which went on sale and sold out. He made 20 of them that were sold out in like 3 days. That's the one with the extended RAM, the brand new MCX Basic version 3, flash RAM, supporting all kinds of formats, the SD card reader and everything else too. So, I mean, he's busy. He's been taking orders for keyboards again. I know some people were wondering about the Nitrous 9 laid out keyboard, so he's actually going to burn some keycaps for that because that's a special order. So, actually, was it Alan? Was it you that was actually asking for one of those?
Yeah. And then other people were jumping in talking about their impending house purchases, putting off their Coco Mechs. So what I had suggested was that maybe we kind of pool together a whole bunch of different people that might be interested in the the OS 9 caps, and then sometime earlier mid next year have that done up as a special run.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with mine. I got 2 of them for both my Cocos. One's still with Bill. I have to pick up now that the Boomerang E2 is working again. There was actually unrelated problems, nothing to do with the Boomerang, but that machine went back to Bill for fixing. I just have to get down there to pick it up, and then I've got one with my Gimme X one as well too. So, and it's definitely handy because even I forget some of the more obscure, control key combinations that do some bizarre text character type thing.
Right.
Like a reverse tilde or something like that, which even needs special fonts even to see it properly, but it's quite handy. And David Ladd posted a link to where you can find the PSG on the YouTube chat, and should be showing up in the main chat as well.
Be interesting to see if Matchy extends Jumpy to support some of the other sound cards as well.
Yeah, like Paul Bard was mentioning, he wouldn't mind seeing some software for this Symphony 12. Or what's the new one called? The clone?
Philharmonic 12.
Philharmonic 12, which has
I've got to build mine.
4 of the original sound things in there. I think 8 on each on each side, so you can do 8-channel stereo, 4 noise channels and 12 voice channels total.
Something like that. Yep.
And
yes, it is register for register, that same AY chip.
Yeah, so literally, you if you have one of those cards, you can program it as a simple, sound speech pack sound card, just with a single chip type thing. But you can add layers on it and stereo and everything else too. So, and now for the last story for the game section here, Antonio Carlos Jimenez Eli, I'm not even sure how to pronounce the last name. But he's been offering these SD pack for SD cards, these little custom labels that you can do for games. Now, that's kind of overkill because most SD cards are huge. You can fit the entire Coco library on it. So having a single label for a single game means you must really like that game. But he's actually got a few of them up here now where he's duplicated some of the labels, and it's third-party as well as Radio Shack ones. So I'll just kind of go through the few he has on here. But these would be pretty cool to actually put an SD card. Yeah. Now, this is really good for those who want to sell new games on SD cards, which a few people have done, like Timberman and a few others too have been sold that way, and they've gotten custom labels made. And since SD cards are so cheap now for the lower capacity ones, lower, by modern PC standards, they're huge by Coco standards. But you can sell the game, and the labels are pretty cheap. And he actually makes all these, so all you have to do is send him the artwork, and he'll be able to scale it down and actually get you some labels made. He's got a good mix here: third-party, old stuff, modern stuff, Radio Shack stuff.
No TDP 100, huh?
I'm sure you could if you sent him the artwork for the TDP 11.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
And that is it for the Game On News.
Okay.
Hold on a sec. So Curtis, I did find the reviews. For
Okay, yeah. Lay it on us. So what did the other magazines think of Buzzard Bait?
Well, Color Computer magazine liked it, and he only got to level 6, but he liked the game a lot. And Hot Cocoa broke it down into scores. Gave it 7 for setup, 6 for construction quality. I don't know what that means, if that's the packaging or whatever. 7 for performance, and 8 for documentation and ease of use. So I got 7s and 8s, which I think is a little low, but that's okay. But they liked it though. They were both positive reviews. So,
and that's the introduction to our "Why You Are Wrong" segment.
Yep.
I just find it fascinating they had an ease of use category. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'll have to send in ease of use beta 6 to see what they think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to come back undeliverable.
Yeah, probably.
So the updated
Wayne Green's
list,
definitely no longer among us. So
the updated score list is posted on the Discord, including Sloopy's score. I'm very against. Apologies, Sloopy. So, but if you go look at the Discord channel, you'll see the updated list of scores.
Yeah, I saw it. It's all good. I'm just here for the games.
Well, the funny thing is, I remember you said you posted a score at double speed, so I'm not sure how I saw that post, but didn't see the original score. So, anyway.
Well, I think it's a good indicator too that Nick, that you lose track of it because you're getting so many score submissions that you do miss them on occasion. Like if we have a game that doesn't take off as bad or as good, I should say, where there's only 20 submissions, you generally keep them all there. But when you're getting a whole bunch of people, and they're giving updated scores too. It's not like you just have 28 scores. You might have 4 from one player as he gets better. So.
Well, no, it's because it was double speed. It went by too fast, and he didn't see it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And did you play with the blueberry lava version is what my question was.
All right, so go ahead, Mark. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there, but I'm done.
Okay, shall we do a commercial and go into regular news?
Sure.
Yeah.
Woohoo. Here's a hi-fi bargain from your nearby Radio Shack store. Save $100 on our exclusive realistic 77 AM/FM stereo receiver. Only $159.95 during the sale. With audio component features like FM muting, push-button tape monitor, main remote speaker switching, in a genuine walnut veneer case. The ideal control center for your new music system. The sale-priced realistic 77 receiver. Only at Radio Shack, a Tandy company.
Tired of your color computer art input device being low res? Joey has you covered again. Switch between 3 joysticks or mice. Select the left or right port on your CoCo. No more swapping joystick ports. Switch between standard and high resolution mode. Supports the Tandy and the Max high resolution mode. Pre-order yours today at cocoman.biz.
The music is back. The mini ice drum available now, only from Retro Innovations. Go the number 4 retro.com.
Fletcher, I don't need that report tomorrow.
That's great, JT.
I need it tonight.
Oh, JT.
Fletcher saved over 300 clams, you dig, when she got her a Model 100 from Radio Shack, like a good little consumer. It's like a word processor, a phone directory, and dialer. You dig, man? It even can groove with your office computer.
Fletcher? Fletcher. You'll go far, Fletcher. You'll go far.
ESP 8266-01 RS232 TTL Wi-Fi network 4-pin DIN Fitbanger DB9 PC IP DriveWire I'm much happier breaking stuff.
Hello. I am the speech and sound pack, and you are listening to CoCoTALK.
From around the world, what you need to know. Get caught up on News with L. Curtis Boyle.
And now a Muppet News Flash.
And we're back.
Welcome back.
I've got my Mark Overhoser hat on so I can post the news links to chat. I'm ready.
Okay. Somebody say something. I'll just see if this fixed itself here.
Hello, Mr. Curtis.
Ah, there. Yeah, got it. Yeah, that stupid USB cable on my mic is acting up again. Okay, so let's share this screen here. My apologies for the delay. Okay, you guys seeing that?
Yep.
Okay, Nick Morendes, I'll get your help on this a little bit here because you're probably more familiar with this project than I am. So Sheldon McDonald continues to work on his DSKN development system for cross-developing from Windows to the Coco, and he's actually now working on a game using this project, and he's actually working on a semi-graphics tile editor for it as well. He's got some screenshots a little bit later. But Nick, since you've been kind of keeping in contact with him as he does this project, what all has he got going? What all has he got planned?
I don't know what his latest plans are. I haven't been keeping up of late, but I think from what I've read is what you said. He has a semi-graphics editor in there now. So that's all I know.
Well, you were hardly useful for that segment.
Yeah, I was.
Doing your part.
That's it. You get what you paid for.
So here he's using LW ASM, if I understand, to compile something and then immediately sends it to VCC so we can run and test it. Is that correct?
It looks it.
Thanks, Nick.
That's that extra value added to your content right there.
There you go.
And that one's for free. Yeah,
so this is a part of a semi-graphics editor. I remember I did make a note that he had put a screenshot of it in action in the comments here. So this is kind of what it looks like. So you got your basic 9 colors on the left. It looks like he's not supporting the alternate color set where you can kind of sneak in some extra colors, but on a coarser pixel level, you can only do 32 by 16 there. But since so many people are doing semi-graphics games, Matchy and Nick's done a couple, and a few other people have been experimenting with that mode too. This will be handy. Plus, there's an online semi-graphics editor too, isn't there? Or is it only for semi-graphics 24?
Not sure.
Because I think Simon and a few others have
No,
mentioned
SG Edit Remix is for SG4. And
it's
yes,
only for SG4. Okay, so it doesn't do 8 or 12 or the higher ones.
they've talked about doing the other semi-graphics modes, but I haven't checked in to see if they've actually added them.
Okay. It'd be nice if we get one editor somewhere, especially if it's online, so anybody can use it to design stuff. That will work when you just select which mode you want, and then you can pick, because some people might want to do a game that really requires speed, so they might have to use a lower semi-graphics mode, so there's not so much memory to move around. And others may want to do something that doesn't need the speed as much, but want the higher, full 192 res vertically. So it'd be interesting to see what people can do with it.
That screen there is semi-graphics 8, by the way. Look at the top left. It says Semi 8 Coco.
So looks like it's Semi 8 only then, that particular one.
So far.
Yeah, that's what it said in the comments. Just tile editor for just Semi 8 mode.
Ah, okay.
Eight's
Yeah, we
a
need
good
somebody
mode.
to finish up one of these semi-graphics editor projects to actually do it. I mean, even back in the Coco's heyday, there was SG Edit 24, and I think Robert Galt made one too, if I remember correctly, in the 90s that were semi-graphics editors, but usually for the really high modes, because that's what people wanted to see back then.
I sort of vaguely remember an SG animation kind of program from somewhere. But...
Yeah, that's the SG Edit 24, I think, and it was it Sugar Software made it? I can't remember now. But yeah, there was one that they had a picture of the Enterprise. They always used it as a demo.
Exactly.
Yeah. Next up, Dave Shadoff, the author of Star Spores, which was sold by Spectral Associates and actually just joined our Discord server in the last couple of weeks, has now made available a free MC10 Alice core for the Mister. So for those of you who have the Mister, I know Frodo, I don't think he's in our chat today, I think he was busy this week. Like he plays all of his CoCo stuff on there using Roger Taylor's CoCo 3 one, which Roger charges for. Most Mr. projects are free. But now Dave's actually got the full MC10 Alice up there. So that's a free one you can download if you want to emulate the MC10, and then you can enjoy the bazillions of Jim Gary games that have been ported over. And it's like a subscription service with Jim because you get a new couple games every week, just about. Okay, next up, Rutherford LeBlanc on Facebook mentioned a trick you can do on the CoCo SDC where you can specify a virtual drive number as part of a larger disk basic VHD in one command. Like I've always done that separately. And he mentioned you can actually do like drive 0, comma, and then the name of your hard drive image, comma, the floppy image within that hard drive image, because those allow you a virtual 256 disks. So you can actually do it all in one shot with it rather than having to do it 2 separate commands. And I did take a quick look. I didn't get a chance to look at it too closely. A quick look of even the revised manual that Tim Linder did, where he actually added like the new stream commands and stuff that had been added onto the SDC since the original documentation from 2009. And I think if I remember, Tim just released that this summer. And I don't think this is mentioned on there. Now, that may be because he's not doing anything that's HTTP DOS specific in the manual, because there's a few different versions of disk extended basic derivatives you can get on there. But it's actually a nice little trick to use, and one I was not aware of. I don't know if maybe some of the other people here and I'm just dense. But it saves you some typing. That's always good. Next up here, Larry Reeves did a little, history of running a BBS back in the day of the CoCo, from the CoCo 1 days from the early 80s, which was kind of an interesting read. And then I think Ron DeVoe, I think you'd mentioned that you wouldn't mind hearing some other stories along that line, because there was quite a few of us that ran BBSs on the CoCo. I ran one from 83 till 91 myself. And I mean, we had the RIB system, which hooked up to FidoNet by Ron Byler, Charles West, and Bill Noble contributed a little bit to it as well. Scott, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing his name right, Griepentrog, I believe. The guy who ran STG software, he actually had the STG net, which was its own private network, kind of like a FidoNet. So there's a lot of stuff. And of course, we had a lot of really good terminal programs back in the CoCo 1 and 2 days. And then later on with, Twilight Terminal and NetMate and Ultimate Term, et cetera, on the CoCo 3. So the CoCo has always been pretty popular for doing BBSing with, and both hosting and logging in. How many people on the panel here were actually active in the CoCo BBS scene back in the day?
I was.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did some.
I've used it a lot.
We had a guy that hooked up CD-ROMs. Not
on
only
CoCo?
Yeah.
Okay.
My choices were to call long distance to Chicago for SANV or Guys Mills, Wisconsin. But
was that on the STG network, Rick?
I believe so. Yeah, because I got mail.
Yeah, because STG Net was that thing that Scott had set up, and he had, about a dozen nodes, I think, at one point, scattered around.
So yeah, call Chicago long distance every day. Get my mail.
Yeah, that was one thing about the FidoNet. Everybody did their mail exchanges after 2 a.m. local time to get the phone rates way down. We got lucky where I am in Saskatchewan. One of the people that ran one of the main nodes in Regina, our capital city in the province, worked for SaskTel, our local phone company. So he managed to get an arrangement with them to do all that stuff for free. So he called all the other main nodes. We'd have all the local ones, like all the FidoNet BBSs in Saskatoon would all send it to one particular BBS, and then he'd pick it up from Regina at 2 a.m. But he got to do it all for free. He didn't have to pay long distance charges because he worked for SaskTel. That was cool.
It's the expertise of its healthcare workers.
I'm hearing some audio in the background.
Exhausted.
I'm not.
Yeah, I hear some
Nick.
news. I think it's coming from Nick Morantes.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah, it was.
Not anymore.
So in Houston, the amateur radio community was fairly early into the BBSing. And so they were the soldering iron jockeys that would put together early modems before a lot of the commercial options became available, because originally the modems that were available through Radio Shack and stuff were still reasonably expensive, and the phone company was reasonably obnoxious about letting you use them. So
that's right.
The ham radio guys just went ahead and said, we're doing our own thing anyway. And a lot of the early BBS software that I saw in Houston tended to be shipped around by the amateur radio guys. They made you pay for it. And by pay for it, you had to actually solder together your modem with them watching before they would give you their BBS software. So you had to kind of earn your way into it. But one of the things that I remember from those is a lot of the guys had a patch where they would use the Black Beauty joystick for their, whether they could be paged or not. So when you called their board, you could, try to page them, and it would just check the joystick. If it was to the left, they're out. They're not going to take the call. But if it was to the right, it would go ahead and let the page go through, and it would beep on the CoCo so that they could actually go over and start typing back.
Built this up chat thing. I never heard of doing a joystick for that. I just had a key sequence on my BBS that I just hit it. I'm not here. I am here.
Yeah, it was just easy to do it because you just flip the stick from one side to the other as you walked in and out of the room.
Right, mechanical feedback. You could see, am I in or out?
Yeah, actually, take a glance, see if it's on or off. That's actually, I never thought of that. That's a good idea. Not that I plan on running a BBS again now, but
right.
I did that for like 8 years. That's I'm good.
Oh, why not, Curtis? Come on, you want to enjoy the fun of BBSing sysop, right?
It was fun back in the day. It honestly was. I mean, this was way before the internet got out there, type of thing. Way before Gopher and all that stuff got popular. So,
one of my other favorite memories is the DCM3. So it was a direct connect 300 baud modem. So there was no AT commands or any of that fun stuff. You just had an answer and originate switch and a push connect button. And it was awesome because your phone would ring, you pick it up, and it'd be a telemarketer. And you could just put the phone down and hit the connect button and just leave it and just burn. Because those things, I don't think they were actually legal volume levels according to the FCC, because that stuff hadn't really been standardized yet. So to get past the noisy phone system, it put 1,000 decibels worth of signal into the line or something. When you crank that button down, you could hear it across the room still coming out of the handset of the phone.
I want that app on my cell phone.
Yeah, I want it for my cell phone too, but that's just, I love that because it was, you'd always call somebody, okay, man, put your board on, you hear which tone they had, answer, originate, you flip your switch, hit the button. But those telemarketers, that button became so useful for getting rid of them.
Yes.
And in the early switch phone days, the phone line didn't hang up until both sides let go. So you could actually hijack someone's phone for a while. If they were an annoying telemarketer, you just leave the button down and go get dinner. And you come back.
And they couldn't hang up for like half an hour. Yeah, we did that too.
The good old days.
Yeah.
I actually had a DCM3. Used it on my Atari.
Yeah, I had the acoustic coupler first. We had to plug in the caps of the headset. And then after that, I got a JCAT 300 baud, which is a little tiny 300 baud modem that was super small, and it was pretty cheap. Auto answer was a major reason I bought it, was auto answer for the BBS I was running. So because I got kind of tired of hitting connect manually.
Yeah, JCAT sold a lot of those, or Novation sold a lot of those JCATs for that auto answer.
I specifically bought a 2400 modem that had a switch to go to 300 because CompuServe charged much less in conference for 300 baud than 2400 baud, and that was sufficient.
Yeah, when I started, 300 baud was just about it, because the 1200 baud Hayes had just started to come out, and those were like $700-800 or something like that. It was just insane.
And then sys prices were, I don't know, $5 for 300 baud and $15 for 2400 baud. So
it was cheaper for you guys because we had the CIS, their own charge, which I think at the time was $9 Canadian an hour. And then we had to go through Telepack, which is another $10 an hour to even get there. So it was $19 an hour. So I usually just cheated, and I probably shouldn't admit this in public, but I used to hack other people's credit card numbers to sign up and temporarily use CompuServe to download everything from the CoCo forum I could until they caught me and disabled the account.
Yeah, here they had Sprint, or here CIS had their own network, but then you had SprintNet and TimeNet. And it was fun to play the numbers game between all of those.
Yeah, and then later on, Delphi got popular, and Genie, and there's a few others I can't remember off the top of my head. And then eventually
Well,
AOL once the web got popular.
Delphi, I had to go through SprintNet or TimeNet to get to them. I forget the other name for SprintNet, but yeah, it was.
Them were the good old days.
Right, Sonny.
Yeah, buying a 14.4 modem was fun because it was like so fast, and then later, it would keep going up, and we kept thinking, oh, geez, in about 15 years from now, we'll be flying. But it just topped out at 56K, and that was it, huh?
That's all the phone lines could handle.
Yeah, that's all the phone lines can handle.
Yeah, the 56 was special tricks.
Except, wasn't there dual phone lines you could hook up?
That was ISDN, yeah.
Yeah.
You could do it. And I did this back in the day. I had 2 phone lines, and I would use 2 modems, and then there was a way at my ISP they had it set up to where they would tie those 2 connections together on their end.
Yeah, but then you had to pay for 2 phone lines.
Well, the nice thing, that was the one thing. Nice things. I worked at the ISP at the time, so I didn't have to. That was something you had to pay extra for otherwise.
I mean, I remember because I used 300 baud from 82 to I think 84 or 85 when I got an Avitex 1200 finally, and the jump from 300 to 1200 was like night and day.
Oh yeah, yep.
Interesting ISDN fact. My previous employer used ISDN modem so we could log in from home back before things got good. And one of the people there accidentally set their modem to reestablish the connection every 2 minutes and time out after 2 minutes. Well, ISDN charged by the call. And so, yeah, he accumulated several $1,000s of phone fees in a day on his ISDN modem. So, yeah,
those were not cheap. We had them available here too, and we bypassed that at work. We actually waited until we could get, I think it was ADSL or DSL or something. We had eventually got.
My first modem.
Go ahead.
My first modem was the Radio Shack Direct Connect 300 baud modem from the modem pack.
Woohoo!
And I had the hack in it, so that way I could switch the address to the Deluxe RS-232 pack address, because some of the software at that time only used the RS-232
pack. Wouldn't work with the modem pack. That's right.
So, and then I think my first modem after that was a 1200 baud Zoom. And then after that, all of my later modems were all US Robotics.
That's pretty similar to me. I went from JCAT to an Avitex 1200 because it's cheap. It was a cheap 1200. It was semi-Hayes compatible. I got a Zoom 2400 after that, and then a Zoom 96, and then I went to USR from 14.4 up.
Did you guys ever buy a Hayes modem?
No, those were too expensive.
I know, but I'm saying after when you were able to get them really cheap just to have one. Like
I've got a JT Fax, which is tons of money nowadays, has a built-in 2400 baud Hayes on top. But I
always got Hayes compatible because Hayes, even when the prices dropped, were still twice as much as everybody else. USR was, I think, the mainstream one most people got.
But I had a USR, and I was just excited when I found that I think it was the TimeNet number I used for Delphi had a 9600 connection. That was like the best thing ever at the time.
My first commercial product was the Radio Shack DC modem pack. You could soft the modem and stick on a couple of level converters and make it into an RS-232 port. So I sold a bunch of them when Radio Shack sold them out at $9.99. I was making serial ports out of them, which still
you can convert them to run up to 19.2 then, yeah.
Right? And yeah, you just put you sawed the modem off literally with a hacksaw and put a couple of level converter chips in the box and an RS-232 plug on the end.
So you don't have any left to show?
No, I sold all of those things.
Yeah, they've been a good seller because you would have been selling them a lot cheaper than the RS-232 packs were at the time.
Well, yeah, I was getting $40 for them, and I was buying them for 10 and selling them for 40, and it took me 30 minutes to convert them. So, and then that led to the Mini 232 and the Fast 232 and blah blah blah. But anyway, that's fun. The old 300 baud.
I always thought the Hayes modems were really cool because they had that plexiglass plate in the front and all the lights were behind it.
Yeah,
know,
I remember that. We did have a haze at work, but the prices never came down enough to match USR or any of the other people, so I just never bought one myself.
Yeah, US Robotics, the thing I liked about most of their modems is that they were easy to upgrade the firmware. So I think my 28.8, I was able to upgrade to 33.6 and then upgrade it to 56K.
Yeah, I remember doing that too, actually. This 28.8, I upgraded to 33.6 and then 56K too. That's true.
So scopes aren't the only thing that play that game, eh?
Nope. Anyway, we can wax nostalgic about that a bit later. Maybe when Ron starts talking about some of the stuff he's been doing with WeFax lately. All right, next story here. This is from Jerry Stratton. We featured him on the show before too. He did the RCheck Plus program, which is a script. I think it's written in Perl or Python. I can't remember now. But basically, it's a script that goes through and duplicates what the old Rainbow Check program in Rainbow used to do, which back then was a little machine language program that ran in the background. And every so many lines of basic code you type in from the magazine, you would hit I think it was the up arrow key or something. It would give you a little checksum, and you could follow in the magazine because at these little, at this line number you're going to get this check number. At this line number you're going to get this check number, and it would tell you if you had any typing mistakes. So it would help you catch errors before you got the entire 32K program typed in, and then you have no idea where the problem is. And he's added some new features to it, which he kind of goes through on this little article here, including some improvements to the original one. So actually it's more accurate now and will give you a better idea. It'll catch some common errors. Like if you've accidentally done like an uppercase versus lowercase, it'll check the checksum and say, oh, it's off by 32 because that's the ASCII difference between an upper and lowercase. And it'll give you a warning basically saying, likely you've typed in an uppercase versus a lowercase letter. So it helps you pinpoint what the problem is, not just the fact that you have one in the last block of code you typed. So I thought that was pretty cool as an upgrade. I mean, most of us try to find this stuff already pre-typed in on Rainbow on Disk or whatever. But for some of the other alternative magazines like Hot Cocoa, Color Computer Magazine, Color Computer News, etc., they aren't typed in. There is no disk versions of all of those yet up on the archive. So this is a way for anybody who does want to type in some of those old programs to make it a little bit easier to catch mistakes as you're typing them in. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it's a free download from his site. I think the Mac version he's got out now, and it works on Unix, Linux as well. I'm not sure if he's got the Windows version out quite yet. Next up, this is from John Linville, and it's kind of a congratulations to the Coke crew. They've actually completed the 150,000 download mark now for their entire run of the show. And that's good all the way around. I mean, we've gotten our numbers are going up now too, and have been for a while. I think, like I've mentioned many times before, the Septandy event actually brought a lot of people back into the Coco or into the Coco for the first time, and they're sticking with it. So I think the numbers are increasing for both shows as far as getting viewers and listeners, and that's good. As if we keep expanding the community, that's more Ferraris Nick gets, and of course we all want that. Okay, next up here from Steve Bamford, who's done some game writing of his own. He's mentioning here he wanted to do a coffee table book, so it kind of sounds like it's similar in base concept to what Bruce Moore did with his coffee table book for the 40th anniversary of the Coco. The one difference here is that he wanted to do it for Dragon software cover art, probably mostly games, but probably some other stuff too. And he kind of had this long-term project, and he just says, I don't have the time to do it. So he kind of has let everybody know in the Dragon group on Facebook that he would like somebody to pick this up and run with it and kind of get going, and he'll try to help as much as he can type thing. So he's got some people already contacting him about it, think it's a good idea. And then there's obviously scans of some of these on the World of Dragon site. And then, some of the YouTubers here have obviously got quite a few of these cartridges like the ones we just went through on the Game On segment. And that'd be kind of cool, I think, to see a coffee table book of all the various, software covers and stuff, especially with the Dragon, because like I mentioned before, they did a lot more intricate artwork on most of their stuff. We had a few good ones here. Computer Shack and Mictron did some pretty good stuff, but a lot of them did pretty simple, doggy bag, throw in a piece of Xerox paper in black and white type thing. Spectral was, famous for that. That's pretty well all they gave you for the most part. So that'd be interesting to see. Next up in the MC10 group, Ed Snyder announced the initial release. We covered this last week because the project had been mentioned there. It's designed by Darren Atkinson, who's also the guy who did the Coco SDC. And Ed actually put it up for sale. So he made a first batch at 20 and they're already all sold out. Does that ever sound familiar coming from Ed? So I'm not sure when the next batch is going out. But for those with MC10s, obviously it's a pretty popular product. As we mentioned before, it gives you the SD card storage and includes a patch to basic MCX Basic that not only allows the SD cards, you can load in cassette files, you can load in basic files directly. You don't even have to make a cassette version. You can load in arrays of data, which was a rather unique thing that the MC10 Basic did. But it also supports, if you do the hack on the inside of the MC10 or the Alice, to give yourself 8K of RAM, including video, because that's one problem. The expansion port doesn't let you use the extra RAM for video. So you could never use PMode 3 and PMode 4. He's already got schematics up on his site that you can get to actually fix that problem yourself, and the new Basic supports that. So now you can do full PMode 3 and PMode 4 graphics on the MC10 and the Alice. So hopefully he'll get some more of those out there for people that want to buy them. He's got some links in here with an introductory video for it. He's got the complete user guide that explains some of the hardware and also the new Basic. And it was going for $65 plus shipping, including the case. And once he gets them back on, I guess we'll do it. Did you guys want to see the video of it, or
Sure,
should
why not?
leave that up as an for the user?
Go ahead.
Roll that footage.
Here's the MC10 internal mod. Here's where it ghosts it. You can see it duplicates the screen from the top to the bottom there, because it basically wraps the 4K back to the beginning and just redisplays it again if you're in PMode 3 or 4. And then he details the mod here, and now every pixel is individual. And he has a little quick demo here of that too. Now it's just the 8K mod. That's not part of the new hardware on its own, but it definitely supports all this. So let's go back here.
Now, from what I was reading, if you do the 8K
Hi guys,
mod,
this is just a short little.
Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Now, if you do the 8K mod, doesn't that cause an issue with the existing MCX 128?
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, but did he say that? I can't remember now. Yeah, I think he did.
There was a flicker problem.
There's a patch though for the programmable logic that's in the MCX that can be updated, I guess. Not sure how, but that's something that you'd need to contact Ed for.
Okay.
It's on Darren's blog too. MCX Wares has a description of the MCX 128 part of it.
Okay. So anyway, this is a semi-lengthy video. It's just under 5 minutes. I'll play the whole thing because I think if there's that much demand that he sold out 20 of them in 3 days, I think there's enough viewership here that would be interested in getting some more details on it. And so I'll just play the whole thing and then we'll go on to the next news segment after that.
Video to introduce to you a new device from Darren Atkinson for the MC10 and Alice computers. It's an SD card interface for loading and saving files called the MCX 32SD. So units themselves, they consist of a little board like this that plugs into the expansion port on your MC10. And just a quick overview here. You have on this side the SD card socket, the connector, regulator circuit for 3.3 volts for the CPLD. You've got an MCU to handle the file system, 32K RAM chip, and a flash chip, and a little associated circuitry, and that CPLD right there to provide the necessary logic to tie everything together. So Darren designed this, and they work great. They allow you to load and save all several different file types to the SD card, just a FAT formatted card. And I designed these cases for it. No screws involved, they just snap together. And these units will all be coming in a case. There's a little LED at the top there. You have your SD card socket, and they just plug right into the back of the computer. And the SD card goes in there like that, face up. Just clicks in, and you can get it back out that way. So I'll show a little clip of these loading some programs in a moment here, but these are going to be the absolute best way to load and store files on your MC10, and also to get them over to it from the computer. Let's move on to checking it out in action. So here goes just a quick shot of the MCX32SD in action. Got it hooked up to the television here. And turn on the MC10 with the cartridge in there. And check it does add 32K of memory to the computer, or that's what's contained on board. That's the available amount that you'll get in BASIC. It's running MCX BASIC 3.0. If you do a DIR for directory, show you the contents of the SD card, and then you can load C10 files and load and save BASIC files, whatever you want to do with the file system there as far as that. And let's see, we'll just load up Flagging Bird here. And you can see,
fast, very fast.
Works well, loads quickly. Basic, this little thing that displays characters here. Basic file. So there you go. It's a wonderful little device for the MC10. It's going to allow you to load and save programs more easily than ever before.
I'm not hearing Curtis. He's muted or something.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I muted myself. Sorry.
You were talking away, though.
You guys can lip read, right? Oh, just kidding. No, I was just going to mention one thing I wish the SDC had, the Coco SDC, was the ability to load basic programs directly like this does. Because if you're just trying to debug a program or write it, rather than have to mount a disk image and then copy it onto a disk image and vice versa as you're going through it, it would have been much easier to just be able to just if you're editing on a PC, just drop the basic program directly in and bang, just load it directly. So that's one feature, and this is actually a bit of ahead of Coco SDC. So what'd you guys think?
Cool. You think it'll ever have a GUI, like
I like it.
thing?
Oh, 32K of RAM and P mode 4 supported with the that internal mod. It's possible. You could literally do a Coco Max style program on it.
Cool.
I don't know who's going to take the time to write one, but it's possible now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all Ron wanted to hear is yes, we can get.
Yes. Exactly.
That does not mean that I'm volunteering, just to let you know.
Is it fair to have a MC10 that costs more than your Coco?
Or is more mods invested in it?
No, just more money.
Yeah.
I still like the fact that his TV is so huge compared to the MC10. That
yeah.
I've got to say, I did disassemble a 99.4A to get a keyboard for my Sinclair ZX81, so all things are possible.
There's the MC10 internal mod. Now, this does not require you having that new card. This you can actually just do. And it'll give you a bit of extra RAM, even if you don't have the RAM expansion pack. And it also fixes the video issue of not being able to use more than 4K for video. So if you have an MC10, this is a very worthwhile mod to make irregardless. Next up, Steve Blakely staying on the MC10 theme. This is actually a story that was published a while ago that I missed last week. This was actually done on the 1st. So he's running an MC10 ROM on a modified car engine computer communicating at 9600 baud via the serial port. So that's a rather unique usage of the MC10 ROM. And he's got some pictures of all the hardware he hacked together here and some of the software here.
Car computer?
Yeah.
It's a new version of the Coco Yoda.
Yeah, kind of. Boise's original Coco 2 project for Toyota. So I don't know, does this mean, because he's ported the basic over, does that mean that the microcontroller on this particular car board he got, I'm not even sure which brand it is, was using a 6803? It would have to be, right?
You'd think.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat project, and I wasn't aware that 6803 was used on car engine stuff, so that's kind of cool in and of itself.
That was actually the main use. Motorola put all those together for microcontroller use, and Tandy just decided to go with an entry-level Coco using it as well. But yeah, I would bet there's a lot of different car computers that actually use those microcontrollers.
Yeah, because they had their own embedded RAM. They had timers and stuff on there, which the Coco itself didn't have. It was actually not too bad of a little chip, to be honest. It's too bad that Motorola hadn't made a 689 version with all that stuff thrown in. That would have been a pretty handy thing to have, or attach with the 639 for that matter. Okay, next up, Alan Huffman posted an updated version of his blog article of compressing basic data with Base64. Now, this is part 1. He has published a part 2 that anybody who is subscribed to his Subetha Software blog through WordPress actually got in their email, because I did see it, but unfortunately the links on his own site are broken, so I can't show it to you. I did mention it to him on, I think, the listserv too, so hopefully when he gets time, he'll fix that up, or maybe he's planning on doing some changes to it. I'm not sure, but there is 2 parts to this article. And I was hoping he'd be around either in chat or on the show to kind of go in more detail, because I didn't have time to get through it too much myself. But anyway, it's an interesting technical read. And did anybody else get a chance to really go through this more finally than I did?
No, but he's quite a guy. He has a lot of history with the Coco.
Yeah. Yeah. I first met him when it was still Rainbow Fest, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
He was like Genie Sysop or something for years.
Yeah. Yeah. And he actually worked for Microwave. He moved up from, where was he originally from? Lufkin, Texas, I think.
Right. And he's still in Iowa.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Must be enjoying the snow. Unlike me. Okay, next up is Scotty Animation, who's a YouTuber I covered quite a while ago because he did some stuff Coco related back then. But basically this video here is on some pointers on fixing some older CTR Radio Shack cassette recorders for use with computers. In this case, I think it's a 57. That's not one of the ones that was officially. I'm trying to remember. CTR was the regular tape recorder and CCR was the computer recorder, even though there's not much of a difference between them. You guys might know better than me. But basically, they all would work. That's right. Yeah, basically they all work. I mean, I used third-party ones and they worked fine. But he gives some tips in here on how to fix some of these if they don't work. Like if you have stretch belts and stuff. So he kind of goes through, takes it apart, shows you what things to do, and then he demonstrates at the end actually loading some stuff on the Coco. So it's Coco related that way. But for any of those of you who are trying to fix, cassette recorders from back in the day, and this might apply more to our Dragon brethren than to Coco people because they use cassettes a lot more than we did. If they haven't got any modern solutions or are trying to read old tapes, this might be a way to fix your existing recorder instead of trying to find one on eBay. Next up, this is part 3, and I think he was in chat. I don't know if he still is. I think he had to run. I think he had family stuff today. But AC's 8-Bit Zone released part 3, and the final part of his fixing a Coco 2 for a subscriber to his channel. Now, he's one of the ones that we got introduced to through Septandy, and he stuck with it. And he was a Coco guy back in the 80s and 90s too, so he has a history. But he actually goes through, and like the last couple episodes was basically going through the hardware and checking like for bad connections and stuff like that. I think with the first episode, the second episode, he was going through various chips and making sure voltages are right. And basically at the end of the second episode, he basically figured out it looks like one RAM chip was bad. Now this Coco 2 that he's fixing for this fellow is one of the ones that has all the RAM soldered in. So he actually has to take out the chip, desolder it, solder in a socket, and then replace the chip. Long story short, it does fix it. So it's got fully working again. But this 3-part series is actually a really good tutorial for people that want to try to debug and figure out a hardware problem with a CoCo and some of the steps you can take and certain things to check for, what order to check for them in. I mean, he did a lot more than was required to fix the particular problem, but it gives you a good background on exactly what types of things to look for when you're trying to fix a CoCo 1 or 2. So as a tutorial video, I think it's pretty good. Go ahead.
Question. Now, I haven't watched the video yet, but it sounds like you have. Did he, at any point in the video, did he get any solder in his hair?
No. He knows what he's doing, unlike me. My debugging hardware consists of phoning Bill Noble up and saying, "Can I drop this off for you to look at?" That's my hardware skills.
I watched the first one. It was pretty good.
Next up, this is kind of a different one. TGB Chris, who we've had some of his videos on the show, and he's in our Discord and stuff now too. He's a guy who's got like Model 12s and 16s and 2s, and he actually linked up the CoCo as a terminal, or linked up the Model 3 or 4, I think, as a terminal to the CoCo running OS 9, so you could actually log in, and he showed that on a video. So he does a lot of these intricate things. In this case here, he does the unboxing of a Tandy DCM6 modem. Speaking of Tandy modems that we were talking about earlier. He bought this on eBay from somebody, and the person that sent it had bought it during the fire sale that Rick was talking about earlier, that when Tandy was selling a lot of their stuff for dirt cheap. So whoever bought it before him bought this modem for $9.95, $10. Manuals, everything. So he unboxes the whole thing here and finds the original receipts and where it was bought and all that type of stuff. And he then mentioned that he's going to be planning to hook these up between a couple of his black and white TRS-80s to be able to communicate, because he's got an extra modem on one of them. He's actually going to try to get them to talk directly to each other, both through modems. But this would work fine on a CoCo as well. And for those not familiar with it, that's the case right there. You can see the big $9.95 on there for the fire sale, and the connect button that was being mentioned earlier is on there too. So any of you who want to go after phone solicitors, if you still have a landline that they call you on, maybe this is a good solution. You just pick it up, and then as soon as you figure out it's a phone solicitor, you can just give them an earful of static modem noise, which is awesome.
Just need to get that and take that back to 20 years ago.
See, he's got an Altair to the left there.
Yeah, you saw that too. That's one I never did use. I didn't go that far back.
That's the fake one, though. It's the one with the Arduino.
Yeah, it looked a bit shiny.
Sounds like a PDP-8.
Next up, this is one of the most bizarre CoCo related videos I've ever seen. It's a channel I've not seen before. It's called Tech SMR. And apparently this is part of a series. I guess he's done this some other times. And he labeled it as ASMR relaxing. I'm not sure if I agree with the relaxing part. So what he did here is he's got a CoCo 2. And he said he really likes the feel and the sound of the CoCo 2 keyboard. And this is the full travel version of the keyboard. So he made a 10-minute video of him just typing on it. So all you hear is the clacking of keys for 10 minutes straight. I'd love to see what he would do with a CoCo Mech from Ed Snyder. But I thought, I'm not going to play 10 minutes of keyboard. I won't subject you guys to that. But just an interesting take here.
If you want 10 minutes of keyboard, just join us in Discord voice chat most nights.
Yeah, David Ladd usually fills that in pretty good. Or me.
What? Huh? What?
Go back to sleep, David.
I feel arrested already.
What exactly is the idea?
I don't know. That's why I put it on here, because it's kind of unique.
Okay,
he just likes the sound of the keyboard, so he does 10 minutes of typing.
I can tell you, there's a bunch of videos on YouTube labeled ASMR. And the thing about ASMR is, in some people, certain sounds, voices, think of Bob Ross from Joy of Painting. He's like the king of ASMR. Certain voices, certain sounds will elicit some sort of a response in you, like your goosebumps or relaxation or something like that. So
what does this ASMR stand for?
Autonomous sensory something response or something. I'm not quite sure. But basically these sounds will trigger in people feelings of relaxation or feelings of, certain whatever. So
well, it's true then, because we actually don't we enjoy playing with our machine and hearing that noise. And
Yeah, well, it could
But
be.
actually, we're actually doing
Yeah, that's
things
it.
when we're hearing it. But
Yeah, but listening to somebody else do it, I'm not that keen on. Sorry.
So people will make videos of writing on paper or folding paper or all kinds of different sounds that different people like. So that's basically what he's doing. He's using the keyboard because some people, I guess, like the clickety clack sound of a keyboard, and that makes them relaxed or whatever. So.
Okay, Jim Brain and Kevin Holloway both said it stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response.
Yeah.
I don't know what the meridian means. So,
like, I get that with certain voices. I find them very relaxing, and they soothe. You know, like I said, Bob Ross from Joy of Painting. That's why a lot of people watch him, because they find his voice very relaxed.
so would you say, Nick, that David Ladd's voice is relaxing?
I was thinking that.
No, but this panel is
kind of the other way around. Yes.
I'm kind of thinking maybe Mikey's AMSR is the news segment.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
Well,
Well, the droning monotony of my voice.
So I think it's funny that this keyboard's being used, because I don't personally find it relaxing, but somebody
I don't either.
Right?
I couldn't make 10 minutes. I'd tear my hair out. I'd be soldering my own hair at that point.
Yeah, that'd be
so you could make a bazillion videos of noises.
I'm just glad he didn't go for the U-log route where it runs for 8 hours straight. I myself, like, I guess I gotta say one thing. If I'm typing myself, I mean, I do like the louder keyboard, so I know exactly when I've hit a key. So the Coco, the full travel keyboard, or the CoCoMech keyboard in particular, that I do like that for my own personal use when I'm by myself programming or something, because then I get that auditory feedback. But listening to somebody else do it, or a room full of this, no.
This is a Coco 2.
Yes. Coco 2 full travel. So it's basically the Coco 3 keyboard with 4 less keys.
So the only reason you know you hit a key is because it made the loud clank when it bottomed out.
Yeah, it's kind of like David, you know probably the model number. What's that original IBM keyboard that's so famous for?
Well, no, those had buckling
Model M.
screening, so you could type where you felt it give and register before it bottomed out. You could type it gently, but the Coco keyboard, you can't type gently. You just have to bang on it and get it down good and hard so that it records.
Yeah, on the CoCoMech, you actually get that audio and you get that physical feedback when it hits that last part where it's actually clicking. So it's different than the Coco keyboards. That's which is why I like it so much. I bought 2 of them. Anyway, that's a pretty neat video. I hadn't heard of ASMR before, so I'm glad some people on the panel and in the chat actually know what the heck that is, because I had no idea. So thanks for that, Nick. Nick's my new tech support for keyboards now.
He's probably got Telewriter 64 up, right?
That's yes. I do like the sound of pen, like a ink and like a fountain pen writing, and like with the quill or whatever. That's like, there are some sounds that are relaxing, but keyboard, I don't think so. Not for me.
Yeah, not for me either.
What about David Ladd talking about what he wants to plug into a multi-pack?
Oh,
yeah, but he does it with
all
enthusiasm.
kinds of things.
Yeah.
Can you plug a multi-pack into a multi-pack?
That would not be a good thing, because the fact that you only have one address to control them all.
Hey, David O'Connor did it live with power on.
That's a throwing back.
That will disrupt the space-time continuum.
David uses floppy drive stepper motor sounds.
Yes, there we go.
I wonder if David O'Connor's got a headache again. Poor guy.
Haven't heard from him in a while. Anywho, our next one here is from another channel that I'm not that familiar with, called Mike's Tech Rescue. Now, he just joined the Facebook Coco group. I don't know if he's joined Discord. His real name is Mike Dancy. And he released this video for how to make your own RF cables for the computer. So what he was trying to do was hooking up, and I'll just mute this for now. He was trying to hook up Coco to a CRT TV here, but he's using the Nintendo RF box. And I guess that does things a little bit differently. There's some extra circuitry in there that it comes with like crap like this.
The Nintendo one is an auto switch, unlike the one that came with the Coco back in the day that is a manual switch.
Okay, but apparently there's some circuitry in there too that also causes this.
Oh, well, it's probably just not switching, because I believe the Nintendo puts a voltage out on that line to make that switch. So
okay,
that's why.
So at any rate, he found out on the Facebook group, and Jason, I can't remember if you were involved with that discussion or not, but about just hacking together an RF cable and composite. he kind of goes through and he shows, just basically snipping them off and, kind of tying the wires together.
Editorial comment, and in places that put their video on UHF 36, you didn't have any of these herringbone problems at all. It's the computer clock being so close to the video
signal. Yeah. That's why they added the extra shielding, I think, on like the Model 1 and stuff, because it was way off, really causing interference.
Yeah, and you'd get sunburn from your ZX81, but you had a nice clear screen.
I just want to show this to this was funny. He was here trying to tie the cables together, and he kind of goes, "Dexterity problems, please stand by."
Yeah, not an easy thing to do, to take two cables like that and put them together. Not an easy thing to do.
Now I'm going to pause it right here. Do you see a possible problem with the cable that he's made?
Short.
Ohms.
Yes. He noticed that too when he went to plug
it in. Way short.
Yeah. Well, he's 75 to 300 ohms too. So.
Well, the output on the CoCo is 75 ohms.
Really?
Yeah. You can actually just take, and I have some pre-made cables here that I bought that just have an RCA cable connection on one end on male, and then the other end has an F connector. You can just screw right on the antenna jack, or there are adapters available too. It works
so
great.
Why did they use that stupid video switch?
I think that was because you wanted to switch between it. So there was a match transformer in there to go to 300.
Yeah.
Well, back then, a lot of the TVs didn't have the 75 ohm coaxial jack. They had
Okay.
the 300 ohm twin lead.
Yeah.
The wrong way around. Thank you.
And the other thing too is for people that might want to go a pre-ready to go route, you can off of Amazon pick up a package of RCA to RG6 adapters. So then all you have to do is plug the RCA cable straight into the adapter and then screw the adapter onto the back of the TV.
I like.
Here's where he noticed the cable was too short, because now he's having to hold the computer up to actually test it.
Right.
This sounds like something I would do.
Been there, done that.
Well,
yep.
Well,
you can get it perfect here, and he just tied this together by hand. He didn't solder it together or anything, so he's got a clean picture now, but the color's not quite right. So then he goes and he does a few other adjustments and does a proper job and ends up with this. So I left him a comment, because he was trying to get a mem check and figure out how much memory he had here. And I told him how to do that, and I told him to invite him to watch the show and stuff. He's on the Facebook group too. And then he also goes through in some details with the Nintendo to kind of take that apart and kind of show what extra stuff it's adding in that is causing some of the issues. And he went through the technical explanation. I don't understand, Jason, you probably do, but
right.
It was pretty good because it shows that if you have one of these RF, capable CRT TVs and you don't have the box or anything, you can actually quickly hack a cable, and it's actually not that hard
Sweet.
to get it working properly. So
Very good.
I probably would have used a shorter, where the RCA cable is, made that real close to the, not have a 4 or 5 inch length on there.
yeah, he made a longer cable at the end of the video after he figured out that he made it way too short. So next up, Mr. Paul Barton, who I believe is still on the panel here, is designing another 16550. Now, we were talking before the show there about possibly combining Paul's stuff with Ron on Ron's garage. And it sounds like you guys are okay with that idea, but I think we'll start that next week because I already have it in here.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's all right. Or you don't have to. Either way.
Yeah, no, I just think it's a good idea because you guys actually keep in contact and kind of know each other's projects a little bit too. So it's
Yeah, we're in each other's business.
it's the Ron's Garage Arizona contingent or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
So anyway, Paul, if you want to explain here, I know it's a dual 16550 PCB. If you want to just kind of go through the details of what you're planning here and what stage you're at.
Yeah, right now it's for that particular picture that you show, it's a fixed address. And so one of the UARTs is at the low address and the other one's at the higher address of that a byte, like all of FF60 or something like that. So one would be on the low half and one would be on the high half. I don't remember which one this is, but I'm revamping it a little bit so that you can put it anywhere in the IO space. So that'll be, I'll call it the serial, spelled with a C, 2X or X2 or something like that. And the outputs you'll see on the right edge, there's a 6-pin header. That's TTL outputs. So what I use are those FTDI 232R-5V cables. So you plug the cable in there, the level shifters are in the plug of the USB end, and that just goes into your whatever you want to plug it into, your laptop or something, and then you can run those UARTs at speeds upward to 1.5 million if you want. Typically, I use a 14.3 crystal, and that gives you 400,000, which is, the Coco can't keep up with that, but the rate of 1 byte going out is 400,000. So
yeah, just in little bursts as you.
Yeah, little blips. And I've tested it with Linux using like Minicom, and it receives fine. So
cool, because that means you're designing a card that'll do 2, and you'll be able to readdress them to get around any other hardware you may have installed in your system.
Yeah,
and then Ed's also got his Mega Mini MPI has a dual 16, 515, and 2. So now we're gonna have 2 hardware solutions. We just need to get some software support for you guys properly up and running.
So what is this jack that you explained the number of? Is it the cable that you use to hook up any, like a printer to USB? Is that the square jack? It's got a flat side on it. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, let's see if I've got one here. I've got this. It's a cable like this. It's got a header on one end, and on the other
Should I stop
end,
sharing so you can show everybody this?
Yeah,
Paul?
do that. Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Yeah, here's the plug-in that goes into the board.
Okay.
And
That's
the other
different.
end is USB, and the FTDI chip is actually in the plug itself, and it's 5-volt compatible. So you can buy these cables, 3-volt, 5-volt, TTL, not TTL, whatever you want. They
Well,
have
what
all
does the
kinds of
chip in there do?
It converts the TTL signals to USB.
Oh.
So a serial to USB converter, basically.
So you don't need level shifters, the old RS-232 level shifters anymore. You just use a cable like this, and you've got USB on the other end. Now, if you want to do it differently, then you'll have to build up a little board, which I can hack up pretty quick, make up a little board that plugs into that header and gives you a real RS-232 levels.
So, what does a cable like that cost?
I don't remember. I bought these probably 20 years ago or 15 years ago.
So does that basically do the same thing as my RS-232 pack and then my USB to serial port thing?
Probably, yeah.
Only it's going to be much faster than 19.2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the 14.3 crystal, you can set it up for just about any speed you want.
That would be good.
Probably without reason.
Yeah, you'd be overflowing the Coco at that point.
I had to use 18 to hit 115 correctly with the 550. Just informational.
What's
I had
that?
to use 18 megahertz crystal to hit 115. Good enough.
24. In the data sheet, it says to use a 24 meg crystal to hit to the 1.5 meg.
Oh, okay. That wouldn't
directly.
do me. That's why I changed it. Okay, never
Right.
mind. I'm wrong.
Yeah, I've used that and it works.
So when you get it set up, I'd like to try it on a, to surf. Could I use? You assign a serial port then, just like I would with my S-term program?
I imagine. I don't know how. You'd have to have the right driver because it's not a 6551. This is what I was using to test that. So it's CPLD for addressing, and then 6550 with a crystal and a little patch area if you want to put in your own level shifters and stuff. And these work fine. There's a few mods on the back, you know, because it's a prototype, but it does work.
Bodge wires.
Hey, bodge wires.
Yeah, because I mean, Rick, you sold the 16550, the Fast 232, as you called it, from Koenig back in the 90s. So something you have some familiarity with.
Got a little previous experience, and it was painful.
Yeah.
But I've moved on, and yeah, we're working on a new project, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for the update. I'll steal the screen back.
Okay.
Next up, Robert Sieg has been busy. We've showed off his composite, Pseudo's 256 color mode where he's running it on composite, and you get that bleeding together of colors. So he's been doing a lot of experimenting on various images and stuff, trying to get it looking as good as he can in the 160 by 192 by 16 color mode with the bleeding colors. So he's got this one here he did, a bit of a face. And then this one here, he's been experimenting multiple times. You can see the original picture in the lower right, and it's gradually getting better. I mean, this is definitely looking closer to the original photo than some of his earlier attempts from last week were.
Do you understand what he's doing to make the pictures change color? Can you explain that?
I think it's just he's experimenting with an algorithm to see how the colors bleed, and then he writes an algorithm to convert the original to whatever the CoCo can display. Because the CoCo literally is still only displaying 16 colors on a technical level in composite.
Yeah, it's mapping vertically and horizontally to control the bleed. So he's trying to. The different experiments are checking how it looks with different combinations, both vertically and horizontally, as it moves pixel by pixel.
So those are numbers that he's putting into the program listing?
And the way that the algorithm is actually scanning the original image and picking what the pixel patterns are supposed to be. So he keeps tuning that recipe several different directions.
By changing numbers in the program.
Well, it's more the algorithm, because the program itself is trying to figure out what two colors should I mix vertically and horizontally to try to get this color I can't normally display. And he's tweaking the algorithm of how that's calculated. So I guess numbers sort of technically, but I think it's more programmatically.
Like paint mixing.
Yeah, similar.
But a lot of the
with
ways
a leaky brush, you have to worry about where it splashes on either side or up above and below.
Right.
So that's the part he's figuring out right now.
All right. So my thought is, is he gonna wind up with a standard for all pictures, or is it gonna have to tune this for just each picture? You know what I mean?
I'm not sure. Do you know, Alan?
He's looking at a generalized algorithm, so it should apply to all the pictures.
Okay.
But I think that it's got enough controls in it that you could play with it. So I would jump on that post and actually leave him the question directly, because that would be good for everybody to see.
Yeah.
It's like having a knob on the digitizer, you know?
Kind of, yeah.
And you're turning the knob to change the way the thing does things.
Yeah. If you guys remember the OS9 picture view utility called View GIF by Von Cato, because he had the ones where he could flicker between two pictures, and he uses that kind of an algorithm in there too, because he's mixing colors between two screens he flips between. And he actually had a couple settings that you could tell it couple different ways to generate the color mixing. You could do it based on brightness, you could do it based on tint, etc.
Well, isn't that what high color does with all the
well, he's using a lot more tricks in high color. He's using it's Sockmaster. He uses every trick in the book type thing. But yeah, it's similar in principle, but this is trying to do it a bit more simplified, so it's quicker to display, because high color takes a while to generate the picture, and it builds a unique thing for every picture it does. If I remember
except in VCC.
Well, yeah, if you're on something you overclock. The Gimme X, it'll run a little bit better too if you jumped it up to 2.86 megahertz. But
yeah.
Remember that old flicker mode that did red, green, and blue, and then switched between them really quickly?
Yeah, the author's here, Nick Morendes.
Yeah. Oh, he did that. Okay, I remember.
That was part of the RASSCAN digitizer, or Digiscan, as it's later called.
Yeah, that worked, except for the flicker.
Well, exactly. But hey, Curtis is making it faster. Let's. He'll fix it.
Is it going to be prettier then?
No, the flicker is set by the speed of the refresh rate on the screen, so you can't really speed that up.
Yeah. Now you can put a clock crystal in to jump the Coco up, so it actually refreshes at like 66 hertz or something. And if you had some oddball monitor like a NEC multi-sync that can support that, it actually did smooth it out a bit.
Well, that red, green, blue mix flickered between 3 images, so it's going to be 60 divided by 3 is the refresh rate.
Yeah, 20 hertz.
It would
Basically.
look like a Harley sounds. Yeah.
I was running it at 23 because I overclocked mine, but
do you still have one, Nick?
Which one?
A functioning one, RADScan.
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah.
And that would be cool to see that work, you know, to actually watch. You have a camera and stuff that you can demonstrate sometime.
Yeah. I'll have to see if I can find it and set it up.
Well, it would be really cool to see. I mean, I've never
there's
really
sample
seen
pictures
that
out there
work.
on if you haven't seen. Like, there's a big picture of a koala bear with a jar of Vegemite, you know, because they're trying to kill the poor koala bear.
Didn't Nick show it on our show one time? I seem to recall this.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Nick, you demoed it on the show once.
Did he?
But they had a really excellent picture of that. He had a picture of VW Bug, I think.
He showed the software, but he didn't actually run.
Ron's talking about seeing the actual
seeing the actual
digitizer.
scanning and
Yeah,
taking pictures.
actually
But
seeing the
notice-
hardware work.
When you mentioned starting up the old hardware, here is some blue smoke. Super high resolution. Beware.
Yeah, this is the other one where he's experimenting with colors here. So he's got the original, you know, 24-bit color picture in the lower right corner there with a lot of detail and a lot of gradations of blue. And then his algorithm as it currently stands, you know, kind of mixing the colors together here.
So is that the blue smoke that's with the computer turned off?
Yeah.
Oh, I will mention one other thing with RASCAN, Digiscan too that Nick did is that he had an option. I can't remember if you officially supported that in the software, but you had mentioned it in the manual of actually taking 2 photos instead of 3. And instead of putting color filters you offset the camera to the side.
Yeah.
And if you did one in red and one in green or blue, and then you put the old 3D glasses from the old movies on, you'd actually get a true 3D image because you'd have the offset viewpoint from each of your eyes. And that actually didn't flicker as bad. That was 30 hertz. So that actually didn't look too bad.
Would that be a grayscale then?
It would appear kind of grayscale, yeah. It would be kind of red, bluey, sludgy gray.
It'll be a red scale or green scale, depending on the colors.
Cool.
Yeah, James Jones mentioned in the chat here, he fiddled with Cato's view GIF with the idea of speeding the code. If memory serves, it used a method called median cut to figure out the palettes, which I think is correct. I know Bill and I modified it too back in the day. Unfortunately, I don't know if I still have a copy of it. Well, maybe I do. I'll have to take a look. But we optimized it for the 6309 first of all, so it was running faster. And then we also changed it to run in the 200 row mode instead of just the 192. So you actually would get extra 8 lines of graphics on each screen. And it had the option of saving, like after you decoded a GIF, because that took minutes, especially on complicated pictures. But you could actually tell to save it as a VEF instead, even with the page flipping between the 2 different color sets. But it would load in like lickety fast. Then it would just load in like 5 seconds and be done. So you can actually, it's kind of like high color. You can render a picture that takes minutes to generate and then save it so that it loads really quick afterwards.
Yeah, that's good.
And until high color came out, honestly, that was the best GIF viewer on the Coco, Disk Basic or OS 9.
Of course, a Gimme X is going to change all that.
Yeah, I mean, even the Coco VJ has changed that because I mean the latest version of the Coco VJ has got a 32,000 color palette you can fiddle with and page flip. Lower res, unfortunately.
Did you ever pay attention to the Projector 3 that
Roger Taylor did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that did quite a few different
it did, yeah.
Yeah. The equivalent in the OS 9 world would be viewed by Tim Cancel because he did one that did GIFs, image scans like Nick's, did all the old Coco 1 and 2 formats, Coco Max, straight bins and all that kind of stuff. It did Color Max Deluxe, Coco Max 3, Coco Max 1 and 2. Atari ST, there was a version that did that. There's a ton of them. Home publisher files, all kinds of things.
Is that up on the
it's built into EOU if you want to fiddle with it.
Yeah, I do.
So yeah, I remember back in the day between VIEW and VU, you could pretty much look at anything.
Yeah. I still use those programs to this day. I use View because it was fast, and I also optimized that for the 639, though I have to fix it. Apparently I had a bug on the last release, and unfortunately I lost the source. So I have to redisassemble the stupid thing. But I sped up like VEF viewing, I sped up CM3 viewing, I sped up GIF viewing, and a couple of the formats, so it's quite a bit faster. And it does pretty good dithering for doing GIF pictures, but ViewGIF by Von Cato, which was much slower and only did GIFs, did a much better job, but it took a lot longer to view.
Hey, since we're talking about ease of use, when I'm in the little window, when I hit copy and I'm in Drive D, so let's say D1, when that copy window comes up, it says change name or something like that, or name.
Yeah, that's the path where you want to copy it to.
Right. What do I start doing there? I'm confused.
Are you copying out to the same drive or a different drive?
Well, if I want to go to drive D1 to DD, in a folder in DD, like say text.
Okay, you'd select it on D1, the file you're copying, and then you'd hit copy, and then you do where it asks where to put it, you put /D1 or /DD/ whatever your folder name is, / the file name, and it would copy it under that name.
You do have to put the file name again in there, even though
I believe so. That is something I do want to change. I actually want to change the whole way that whole copy thing's done, but that's a longer term future. But yeah, basically you type in the full path. All it does is it saves you the source path. Like if you did the copy command under a shell, you'd type copy the full path to the source name, space, full path to the destination, which means you can rename it at the same time, or you can retype the same name. That just saves you that you can select the file you're copying with the mouse, select it,
right?
But you still have to type in the entire path for the destination.
Okay.
The shell has the same problem. If I want to copy, I'm used to in Linux just putting the directories ending with the / and the name carries on.
Oh, you can do that on OS 9. Just don't use the standard copy command. Use CP or MS copy or any of those. They all do that.
Okay, everything but copy does that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, thanks.
I actually switch between those two because MS copy is really fast. It's machine language, small, and you can put a 56K buffer, which means you're copying large files. It's quite big. It'll copy and create subdirectories and all kinds of stuff. And it has the basic DOS style wildcards.
The star period star?
Yeah.
Star period, whatever.
Yeah, or the question mark works too. CP, on the other hand, it has a limit of how many files it can copy at a time, but it lets you do other stuff that you can't do. It's got better wildcarding because it actually handles the Shell Plus wildcards where you can do ranged letters. Like I only want files that start with A to F. You can do the range within the square brackets. It also has the ability to link files too, which means if you want the same file to show up in 2 different directories but not take twice as much disk space, you can tell it I want a CP-L file 1 and then /DD/ source code /file 2, and it'll make a link. It'll only take a directory entry for the second copy, but it's still using the original copy. So if you modify that file in either directory, they both instantly see it, which is very handy for certain things, especially if you're doing like multi-user and stuff too, and you set the permissions right. I use that a fair bit too. So there's a couple really good copy commands built into EOU. They are kind of documented in the help file a little bit right now, but I never use a stock copy. I hate that thing.
I'd like to declare asparagus.
Yeah, I was just going to say. Sorry.
CP asparagus. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Okay, next one. So this is from Aaron Newcomb, who's one of the guys that helps occasionally host This Week in Google and this some of the other shows on the Twit network. And he was asking, and he's one of the guys that rejoined the Coco community through Septandy. So he's asking about some trying to scan in program listings, not just the articles, but program listings, which are sometimes done in those line printer fonts from various magazines. Now, he shows an example here from Rainbow. Now, Rainbow, we've got most, not all, but most of the Rainbow on disc or tape is on the archive already. So probably if you're looking for a Rainbow program, you can find it on there. On the other hand, we do not have that for Color Computer News, Color Computer Magazine. Hot Cocoa, I think we've got some on there. So this would be, if anybody has solutions to this or a good OCR program that is actually able to figure out line printer fonts, we don't have to retype these things in by hand. It would be great if you can help them out with this, because this is something I wouldn't mind having either. I mean, I typed in Autobahn from Spectrogram magazine. That took me several days to figure out the 5 typing mistakes I did. And so that would be a very useful thing. I don't know if anybody here has a solution for that or has heard of a solution for that. Most of the time, the line printer ones are fuzzy enough that most of the OCR has no idea what to do with it or makes a lot of mistakes itself, so it doesn't really save you any time.
Take a look at the Tesseract engine that's available as a module for a number of other OCR type things. Tesseract, depending on the scan quality, can do a pretty good job with that.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah. And strangely enough, fuzzing out the original graphic a little bit will help when they've got the fake dot matrix dots.
Yeah.
Because OCR doesn't like all those dots.
Yeah, I've done that too, where basically you purposely blur it a little bit so the dots run together. But yeah, Alan, if you can post a link to Tesseract or some details on it in the YouTube chat, so we can get it on the recorded video. Sometime over the rest of the show.
I don't have the YouTube, but what? Okay.
Or you can post it in the chat here, and one of us can link it into the YouTube video, so it's saved for posterity.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, next up, Richard Kelly, when we mentioned about doing Ladderman, released another disc image here too, and this is a bunch of one-liners. So he's got 7 one-liners that he put onto one little disc image. And basically, this is the challenge that Rainbow used to have. They used to have people submit, and actually, win little tiny prizes and stuff. Of what can you do in one line of basic code? You're limited to 250 characters roughly. And he's got 7 programs here. He's got a bouncing dot. I'll just show the screen here. I didn't really zoom up too much. Bouncing dot, horse race, kaleidoscope, spiral wipe, mirror effect, rotor invasion, fizzle to black. And I remember these used to be a big challenge. In fact, somebody was trying to rekindle the whole one-liner thing back in the early 2010s, if I remember. Because it's a kind of a fascinating thing. A lot of other computers do this too. They have 1- and 2-liner, sometimes 10-liner. And you see what you can do in the native basic on whatever computer platform you're on in that limited number of lines. How useful a program can you make? If I remember correctly, I think Jim Gary even made a very limited Pac-Man, the complete game in 1 line. Which is pretty amazing stuff. So, but anyway, if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, Richard's put up 7 programs you can fiddle with. And that's available on Facebook as a download. Next up from the Dragon users group on Facebook. And I'm really going to bugger up this poor guy's name, I'm sure. Piotr Bugaj? No idea. But he's got this drag and drive thing, which is an upgraded floppy interface. And I should mention the guys from Poland. These are floppy interfaces with a built-in GoTech drive, but it also has a second connector for hooking up a real drive. So this is a really good solution if you're trying to restore all your floppies onto a GoTech or taking GoTech images and putting them onto a real floppy drive. And just like Ed Snyder here, he sold out within days of putting this post up of his entire new run. So put in a recommendation, just like with Ed, send an email. Can I get on the next batch of whatever hardware you're waiting for? And you'll hopefully get it. It does sound like this guy's got a pretty good reputation for selling stuff. And when he does new batches, he just notifies them and everybody who's been in the queue, and then some leftovers go to some of the new people. But apparently he makes pretty good quality hardware for the Dragon community in Europe. So,
and that particular device is an extremely good device. Because
you've used one?
I have one. And
give me some details, because I don't know nothing about this. So this was new to me.
Well, this has been out for, I think, a year or 2 or something like that. But basically, this is a mod to a previous floppy controller he did, which is a clone of the original Dragon floppy disk controller. Mm-hmm. But this has the GoTech built into it. But it also has a external floppy connector, so that way you can still plug a floppy drive into it, and therefore you have the GoTech and a real floppy drive.
And a GoTech's an SD card solution or compact flash or something like that.
No,
similar
USB.
To an SSD USB. Okay.
Yeah, so you just plug a USB flash drive into it, and it pretty much anybody that has used a GoTech will know how that part works. But yeah, inside there is a real floppy controller and a GoTech married together. And then there's an external port. So
do you have a floppy hook to it, and have you actually successfully used it? Or do you just have one?
No, I plugged it into my Dragon Tano and, formatted a floppy, since, unlike Radio Shack, that their basic only did 35 tracks single-sided, at least Dragon DOS supports up to 80 tracks double-sided.
Okay, so what would a command sound like if you were loading a program off of your drive into the computer?
load quote, whatever the basic program is, quote, hit enter. If it's a loadem, then it's a load M, quote, name of the program, quote, enter.
Huh. And then the GoTech, they have directories or any kind of like an SD menu or anything?
That's going to be a long process that there's no way I can explain it. You just have to look at the GoTech information to get an idea, because that would be something that could probably spend 5, 12, 24 hours just discussing. And yeah, I'm not getting into that now.
So that's cool. So it's basically it's a USB stick flash drive writer combined with an actual controller that will run a real floppy, and then you can just willy-nilly copy between the two as much as you want.
Well, the GoTech is basically an emulated floppy drive. So as far as the controller is concerned, the GoTech that's in it is a real floppy drive.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a switch. You can switch between either the controller or the GoTech.
No, the GoTech is a emulated floppy drive, which means as far as the controller is concerned, it is a real floppy drive.
So it'll even work on like copy protected programs or odd sector formats and all that kind of stuff, as long as the file's set up to match correctly. Okay. That's pretty cool. I didn't know anything about that. I've heard of it before, but I didn't really know too much about it. So
well, I hooked up my SDC to my Dragon, but couldn't find anywhere on the syntax to be able to load in a program because I couldn't get it to work.
That's something that you're going to have to talk to the people that's made the special SDC DOS for the SDC, or the Dragon DOS for the SDC, because that's a whole different ball of wax that I've not used.
I assume you flipped the jumper for Dragon.
Yeah, I got the prompt.
Yeah, 'cause you need the Dragon DOS ROM burned in on one of the banks, and you need the switch flipped over because the addressing is different.
Yeah,
Dragon DOS, when I remember, is a fair bit different. I mean, load M and load I think work the same, but some of the other commands are different than we're used.
Somewhere I read that Bank 2 is supposed to have Dragon DOS built in, but I'm not sure if that's true or not.
It was maybe 3.
Bank 0 is SDC DOS. Bank 1 is RS DOS.
Stock disk basic, yeah.
And I think Bank 2 is supposed to be Dragon DOS, but I read that somewhere, but I don't know if it's actually.
And I believe Bank 7 is Hagen DOS.
All right.
So anyway, he sold 62 of these already, and he's already sold out, like I said, in days. So he'll be making another batch soon, hopefully. And for our Dragon fellows there, it sounds like a really good upgrade. And from what David described, it's actually better than I thought it was. So thanks for the update, David.
Yeah, that's no problem. Now, for people that are used to the SDC, the GoTechs are nothing compared to the ease of use with the SDC when merged with the SDC Explorer. Because changing disk images, you have to use the 2 buttons or the knob to switch. And
there's no software control for that?
No, because it's a floppy drive. It would be like saying from the controller, "Hey, could you switch to this other thing that I know you don't know anything about, but switch to this disk image."
Oh, okay.
Because it's a floppy drive as far as the controller's concerned. So
you click the buttons on the thing itself there to say I want to switch to disk image 55 or whatever the name of it is. Yeah, okay. So it's kind of like that other one I showed earlier in the news then. That other Arduino based one with the little screen.
Oh, for the cassettes where you switch through the that's
cassette images, yeah. The only difference is this is a disk drive emulator versus a floppy emulator or a cassette emulator.
Yep, it's the GoTechs are very popular for old synth keyboards that had floppy drives.
Well, they're popular in a lot of 8 and 16-bit systems, even because the Amigos. I mean, quite a few of their people use GoTechs on their Amigas and on Atari STs and Atari 8-bits and all kinds of stuff. So it's a pretty popular.
I would just like to say that I think then we're spoiled.
We are. If you talk to the Amigos, like they say, the Coco SDC front end is one of the best front ends on any of them.
Yes. You know, and my expectation was to flip over to Dragon and do the same thing.
You could do it with the SDC, I think, but nobody's written the Dragon DOS compatible version of the SDC Explorer. So,
shame.
And of course, we've got a kind of a GUI thing in Nitrous 9 ease of use too. I mean, multi-view is already pre-set up and ready to go. You can just double click on drives and go through directories and run programs too. So it's another way. We've got a couple of ease of use solutions, depending which OS you want to use.
You mean I can go through my SDC in G shell?
No, you go through your hard drive image on your SDC, your 128 meg hard drive image.
But I can't
Bill
load
Noble's working on something like that.
Yeah, I can't just load up a SD card with OS 9 stuff on it and
you can through the command line, and I will be adding that to G Shell. It won't be in beta 6.
Okay.
Because Bill and I are still working on some SDC utilities fixes and some additions and stuff. You will be able to eventually, I can tell you that.
I sit and daydream about stuff, and then I think of these questions to ask, but then they get lost. Now, this is one of them that came up.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that will be added. It won't be right away, unfortunately.
There's a pack you can get from the Coco archive. It's OS 9, and it has text files and stuff in it. And you're supposed to be able to extract it to it's an ISO, and you can extract it to
a CD
SD card. Yeah, it has. Do you know anything about that?
I know some of the ISO formatted CD images because they did that back in the late 90s. I think Chris Hawks is the one who wrote the CD-ROM file manager, but.
Okay.
But yeah, you can mount SDC images under Nitrous 9 using the SDC utility. I think Barry Nelson wrote that or did the last mod on it. And Bill and I are working on an enhanced version of that. And then we're going to build in a further enhanced version of that into G Shell. So our ultimate goal, might as well tell you guys, is our plan. Hopefully it works.
It's going to be great.
The plan is, if it works, is that you're going to be able to right click on say /H1, and then it'll give you a list of the images on your SD card, and you just select them and click it, and it'll mount it.
Wow.
We are going to, however, protect it so you can't change DD. You can do that through the command line if you have to. But G Shell is kind of dependent on the fact that it's running off DD, and some of its support programs run off DD. So if you suddenly switch it out from underneath it, it's going to royally screw up.
Yeah.
So we're only going to allow that on floppy or the second hard drive, not the first primary one. That one's going to have to stay. So just to let you know.
Neat.
Anyway, on to the last story for the day. This is Jim Gary posted a blog article on key to bounce delay pokes for the MC10. So the key bounce routine is basically making sure that it doesn't double ghost keys, because basically it's just switches and you hold on the key and it registers that the key is held down. And we start getting switching between keys and multiple keys at the same time. It gets a little bit complicated with the PIAs, etc. So this is some pokes where you can actually decrease the amount of time between the key bounce. And from reading, I briefly looked at the article here, but later on, some people were asking him about it. And it does sound like it actually speeds up BASIC a little bit, because it doesn't have to do as much debouncing routines between key presses in BASIC. So you get a slightly faster, more fluid, more smooth keyboard registration, which might help on things like games and stuff, because the MC10 default does not have a joystick port. Go ahead.
It's because you're not sitting in a Deckerman X loop forever.
Yeah.
Is that
so it speeds up BASIC? It makes it more fluid. It makes the keyboard response better, actually, because it doesn't need the amount of keyboard debouncing that it's actually doing. So it sounds like a nice little thing. It's just a couple of pokes, and then you speed up your MC10 a slight bit.
In the extended BASIC of the MC10, are they going to have joystick future there?
No joysticks.
The Alice did have a third-party joystick solution back in the day, even that they sold, that went on the expansion pack in the back. I don't know if any of the current add-ons support that, because there's no joysticks built in the MC10 at all.
No.
So you need additional hardware through the expansion bus in the back. Now we've got these other ones that have SD cards and all kinds of other stuff. I don't know if any of those actually have joystick ports.
Well, that would be the next logical thing, right? Since they've done video, memory,
cassette storage on an SD card. Yeah.
So that's the only thing left.
I think, didn't Ed Snyder have one prototype for that a few years back?
Yeah, I think so. That he did for the MC10, and then it led to the Coco PSG.
Okay. Because yeah, getting an all-in-one that actually has that added on with some of these other features him and Darren have been adding in would be kind of nice to get the one card solution for everything.
Man, if you
somebody
get
posted
a sound chip cartridge you made that had the joystick ports
for the MC10.
That was it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I kind of vaguely recall there was some joystick solution though. Hey, I wanted to mention the article because it's pretty good that it actually gives you a bit of a speed increase and actually increases the efficiency of BASIC, and then also to mention that he's added these pokes that do this, and he's got a list here on the screen I'm showing right now of all the games he's updated. So those games will now play a bit smoother on a real MC10 or a real Alice. So if any of you have these games and you want to get the new versions, here's a list of them on his blog site. Links in the chat. So, and that is the end of this week's news.
I think Coco Man has a news.
Oh, I have an acquisition. So,
do we want to do a commercial break before we do acquisitions and project updates?
He has to leave.
Yes. No, I have time, but we go ahead and do a commercial break. No problem.
Okay.
I just figured after hearing me blather for an hour that people would want a break.
I know I do.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Fletcher, I don't need that report tomorrow.
Great, JT.
I need it tonight.
But JT...
Fletcher saved $300 on her office away from the office. Radio Shack's revolutionary Model 100 computer. It's a word processor, phone directory, and dialer. It even communicates with the office computer.
Fletcher, how's that report? Fletcher.
Radio Shack's Model 100. Save $300 and put it to work.
You'll go far, Fletcher. You'll go far.
And now, Coco Thoughts by Samuel Gimes. On holidays, Uncle JT would entertain us with stories of his business conquests and his assistant who would meet any deadline that he imposed, no matter how ridiculous. Well, until she shot him in the face, that is.
Hi, this is the award-winning Alan Huffman of Subby the Software, and you're watching Stevie Fall Off Cliffs.
What's going on, guys? Stevie Stroh here, and I want to say thank you so much for being part of this adventure with us. It's been such a great experience in doing CoCoTALK every week, and the support we get is just amazing. And so the fact that you watch and listen is all the reward that we need. However, if you would like to become a patron of the show and offer some financial assistance towards the production and hosting costs of the show, we do have a Patreon site available for that, and you can reach that by going to our website at CoCoTalk.live and clicking on the Patreon link. But just do us a favor and watch and listen to the show.
Hey there, I'm Marco Rolzer, and you're watching CoCoTALK.
This is not the Joey cereal switch. This is the Joey cereal switch. Control up to 3 cereal devices. Order yours today at cocoman.biz.
Radio Shack, America's technology store.
Right! This Christmas, Tandy has a very special offer. A family color computer pack to take away at a very special price. This family computer comes complete with software and costs an incredible $449, a saving of $241.69. It's powerful, educational, and ideal for the young and young at heart. The easy way to start computing. The Color Computer Family Pack from Tandy. Get it while it's hot. Tandy, the biggest electronic store in Australia.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tim. Playing Daggerith like that idiot from the book. You're watching CoCoTALK.
Oh, okay. So we're ready for new or acquisitions and updates.
Why not?
Sure. Okay. Jason, I guess you needed to go first.
Yeah, I'd like to go first because I don't know how long we're gonna be, but yeah, I'll go first here. Made a trip last weekend to the consignment store. That don't ask me, I won't divulge where it is. It's my little secret. But picked up some, not necessarily Coco stuff, but some retro stuff. Some of it could be a Coco. Well, I don't. It could be used on a Coco. Like I picked up this Sega Genesis arcade stick setup, and that would be, you can use that on a Coco with one of the various joystick adapters that are out there on the market. So that's pretty cool.
Looks big.
It is big. I haven't bigger. It's almost as big as my head.
Yeah.
But and some really other cool things I picked up. I picked up an IntelliVoice module in the box. It's actually so all rubber banded together here. The IntelliVoice module, and along with that, has a name of a Coco game, but I picked up Bomb Squad for it. That'll work with the IntelliVoice module. That's gonna be really cool. Once I get my Intellivision set back up, I'm gonna try that out.
How much did you get that for?
Both of these were like $30 together.
What about the joystick thing?
Joystick was originally 20, but it was marked down to 15.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's a good deal. And then just for the heck of it, I saw
another ukulele.
I already have a $5 ukulele. I'm good. I think I have all the ukes I'll ever need.
Many.
Yeah, according. Yeah, exactly. And I also picked up.
I love the uke. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you don't love the $5 uke. I know.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I know, it's all good fun. Also, something I picked up. This is one of these things. I don't think I had this, but for $3, I just went ahead and picked it up. Real Sports Soccer for the Atari 5200, along with the. I even has the overlay. I think it's just pretty cool with the 5200 cartridges. They have the little pocket to put the overlay, and that's probably why the only reason it's still there. And to even go a little more retro, I picked up Gravatar on PC CD-ROM. So now if I can just actually get it to play, but that'll be cool. Probably, what is this? This is, I'm not even sure. Oh, Windows 98 or higher. Okay, well, that's doable. Pentium 133 or higher at 16 mega ROM. I need a 4X CD drive, so we'll and Windows compatible sound card. That'll be interesting.
Windows 10 will love it.
It might not actually run on Windows 10. You might have to run it under DOS box or something.
I might just have to run an old machine. I'll try one of these XP machines I have here. But it was $1. It was on the dollar shelf, so for $1, I said, I'll buy that for $1. Why not? So I did.
The label looks cool.
Yeah, and finally. I think finally, I know finally, everyone's already finally, and this one is Coco related and is a new acquisition and is a recent game of the week. I went ahead, I got my Pipes Rally SG CD.
Still in shrink wrap.
Still in the shrink wrap. Yeah, well, that way it stays fresh.
But you have to open it to get the Rally SG editor.
I know, I do.
No, I emailed it. Did I email it? I can email it to you.
Oh, you can. It doesn't matter either way. I just it's been sitting here. I just haven't gotten to it.
Jason, your brother Ken is asking if you have 5200 controllers that work.
Define work.
Yeah, the answer is always going to be no these days.
No,
Daniel Spears replied, "Damn joystick buttons wore out quick."
Yes, they did.
Yeah, there's a whole problem with the whole flex circuit on that. From what I understand, Best Electronics, and I believe they're still out there, Best Electronics has, I think they still have rebuild kits, or they do rebuilds, I think, still. And other thing I found out, and I made an adapter for this way back when, is actually where you can, I made a Y cable where you plug in a 15-pin PC joystick and use that instead, and you have a Y cable, and the Y cable is where you plug in the 5200 controller for all the 5200, the start, pause, reset, and all the buttons at the bottom.
But why? Get it? Y cable.
Y, yes, Y, like the capital Y in the wallaby cable.
Asparagus, Nick.
That's all I have. So
you know, Nick, we can talk for hours. He can talk for hours about himself. So
yes.
Enough about me. Let's talk about me.
Hey, Jason.
Just teasing.
Yes.
Yes, it's Sloopy.
Go ahead, Sloopy.
I'm the Atari guy. Stick to your own corner.
Oh, this is just one of the many facets I have around here, but that's just one of those things.
We love all things retro.
The
Oh, yes,
multi-versatile Coco Man. Stop.
Well, like I said, you can hook this up to the Coco. So
what was that?
I can hook this. This is the Sega arcade controller.
Oh, with a Paragon or like
with a Paragon or the Neil Blanchard
Neil's
adapter, or I think they made adapters way back when. I think there's another fellow I saw on Facebook that has one, or you can roll your own. It's just
Coco PSG. Yeah, there's a lot of options.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of options out there. I have the Paragons myself, but there are other options. I think Neil Blanchard's there is a function where you could use more than the two buttons.
Yes.
If someone's coded for it. I don't know how much software is available for that right now, but that's a pretty cool idea. I mean, this is only a 3-button. I think his supports the 6-button.
I thought it did too. I'm not sure.
I think so. This has got it's got 3 Megafire. It's got a Megafire speed control on it. I haven't had a chance to check it out. I need to dig out my Genesis and try it on there first, but that's all I have right
that
now.
auto key repeat fire and speed adjustment, that's cheating, man.
Damn kids.
You have to get calluses on your thumbs like we did in the old days.
And walk up both hills.
Distorting the hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. We had to walk uphill both ways in the snow with no shoes, right?
Literally, I have to do that now. Thanks.
Well, you're up there. You're up there in the Great White North. I would expect that. You have your snowshoes.
Yeah, 1.5 feet of snow in a week. It's great.
It's already it's a metric foot.
Half a meter then for those.
Since we're talking about Neil, I can go next and show something off real quick, if that's okay.
Okay.
Go.
I got Neil's game.
Can you zoom that in, Mark?
Yeah.
Nick, that's about the size of the game thing that Jason got.
I will show you.
That's gonna hurt if you sit on it.
Yeah,
here's a 12-inch ruler for size comparison for. It's about 14. I don't know
It's not a 1/3 meter.
It's about 14 inches wide anyway, and it's got your the ball.
You raise it up
is
a little
down,
bit there.
down is up, up is down.
Yeah,
okay.
Just
hold it
still.
So
there's your you got your ball stick there. This unscrews. This comes undone. You screw it on. Got your
proper arcade buttons,
and it connects with a. Sorry, left is right, right is left.
Like you're trying to dodge my view here.
Ethernet. It comes with an Ethernet to DIN cable. So you plug in the DIN cable on.
It's like an RJ45. It's not okay. Yeah.
Well,
it's the same
yeah.
connector they use.
It's an RJ45.
Technically, it's an RJ45.
Well, it's funny when I saw it, I thought, what is it like for more upgradable over the online or something? But no, it's that's what he used to connect. So it's and it's very nice, and it has it has this black. I really suck at doing this. It's got this black thing too that goes underneath.
Oh, so, a little O-ring, a little
O-ring.
So this is the serious 4 micro switch joystick that can't be killed with hammers or.
Very, very nice wood construction.
Which finish did you get? Because he actually offers multiple ones.
You know what? This was actually gifted to me. So it's the dark. I don't know what it's called, but it's a dark. It's the dark brown, classic wood.
See, I'm scared to order one of those because I do occasionally rage quit games, and I'd probably take out a wall if I threw that.
Of course, I tested Buzzard Bait with it, and it worked very well.
That explains your high score. You
No,
cheated.
actually, I did that with the Black Beauty, but it's clicky. I don't know if you can hear.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. It's a real arcade joystick and it's a real arcade button.
And it's got rubber feet on the bottom, so you can put it on a table or in your lap. Or I put mine on a drawer. I opened a drawer and I lay it across the drawer, and I played.
And they're rubberized feet, so it doesn't slide around. It helps keep it.
Rubberized feet, and yeah, it's very nice.
Is the rubberized feet ready for minus 40-degree temperatures when I play outside, or?
I'd like to see your Coco work outside.
Oh, I can overclock the crap out of it when it's minus 40 there. I don't even have to add in cooling.
It'd probably
That's my 40 megahertz 609 then.
So you can
melt the snow in the winter.
So I'll do a little plug to Neil Blanchard. Write to Neil at CoCoCrew.org if you're interested in getting one. And it does come in different finishes. I don't know what they are, but I'm sure he can answer your questions. It's
That looks really
well
nice.
built. So nice. Thank you, Neil, for and thank you to the person who gifted this to me. I don't know who it was anonymous. And thank you to Neil for shipping it. Neil shipped it from the Niagara region, and it came very well packaged. So thank you very much, Neil Blanchard, and thank you to my mystery.
I want to issue a public plea to Neil and John and the rest of them at the Coco Crew, because they do sell some pretty cool products, but there's no storefront anywhere really for it. They really need to get something, whether they shared with Cloud9 or something. But a lot of people keep asking for their stuff, and the only way to contact them for any of this stuff is email. And that's not something you can really post easily on a website or, mention a link type thing. So I'd really like it if they had some central point, all the stuff they sell, because they have to keep re-advertising stuff, a year after, because, newer people don't know about the old stuff, or older people forget about it because it's been talked about, because it's not the active new thing. And they really need to get a nice central site that has everything that they all as a group offer. I think that would really help their sales and stuff here too.
That's something that makes it easier, because I was dealing with a similar issue, and I did finally find something that worked for me. It might not work for them, but it worked for me. It's easy and it's fairly inexpensive.
Oh, Ben Drakes gave me a great idea. So next week, Curtis, I will have a 10-minute ASMR video of me clicking the buttons. So you can add that to your news feed.
Ooh. Stay tuned for that.
Sure, my high score click.
I put Neil's email address in the YouTube chat. It's neil@cococrew.org if you're interested in getting any of the products we've mentioned of his today, which has been his joystick adapter and the Gamester joystick. So there you go.
I like that name.
ASMR. I'm going to have to do some stepper motors for floppy drives.
I can hear now. ASMR for David Ladd is Grease Weasel.
Don't forget the headbanger bug.
Yeah, put a 1541 in there and just throw a random head crash. That'd be good.
Actually, when you're downloading WeFax, the noise that the receiver makes is a good one for that.
I don't even know what that sounds like.
Here comes Ron's AMSR video.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up next.
From the observatory.
Yeah.
Okay, show us what you got, Ron.
All right, give me the screen.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. Do you see Ron's garage?
Yes.
Okay. What we have here is the latest. I reposted this thing showing a graphic tablet, and you can use that to draw things. It's all in there. Take a look sometime. I brought up my Model 4P recently because I lost the badge over here. For the longest while, I haven't had it. And I thought, maybe I could order one somewhere. So I went on the Model 1 4P group and asked around, and sure enough, there was a guy, and he sent me one $9 later. There it is. So fix that. Found this old ploppy. Looks like it came from a store. It was a demo for the Coco. And
Yep,
sure
that's
enough,
the
there
Spectral
it is.
Associates Christmas demo they gave to the Radio Shack to show off in the Radio Shack stores.
Yeah. And it runs perfectly. It works great. I'm going to have to do a video of that. And then there's this. And this is a WeFax picture that I downloaded. You guys familiar with any of that in your head in the past?
Yep. Transmitting
good.
weather information via fax over radio.
Yeah, really cool.
Weather fax.
And they still broadcast.
What is this thing there? Okay, and then this is how well, I'm going to go to the WeFax thing next, but this is my MicroWorks DS69. I had it, used it, broke it, sent it back, and they sent me another one as a 69B, and they didn't charge me. It was awesome.
Now, the 69 was the original Coco 1 and 2, and the 69B was the one that could handle double speed in the Coco 3, wasn't it?
Correct. Yep. It's a great thing. Anyway, this is the new group I made. It's called Tandy Color Computer WeFax Group. And I made a group because I didn't want all my WeFax pictures that I downloaded to be all mashed into my Ron's Garage group, and I thought it would be separate. I can talk about it. This is some of the latest stuff I downloaded. This came out so nice and clear, which it doesn't always do, but in this case it did. I used my DX440 and it worked perfect. They're realistic. Also, this is where they come from. The Ocean Prediction Center. And that's really interesting to look at and read and find out about. They have graphs and stuff that you can go look at that they broadcast. And this is me actually downloading. I think this is a video. I'm going to play it. Can you hear any sound? This is where you want to hear it.
No, I can't hear anything.
No, I don't hear anything.
All right, how do I make it so you can hear it?
You have to go into the advanced settings on screen sharing to select your system
crap.
sound.
All right. Well, you're just
heard
gonna you're just gonna have to take my word for it. It's an annoying
Facebook page and
loud
check out the video
sound.
directly.
Yes, you can hear it there. Anyway, that's the DX440 Coco setup. It has it's on 12780 megahertz or kilohertz, and then it just comes in line by line. And I didn't think I could do it again, but sure enough, I went and looked. And then somebody mentioned having a SDR to receive WeFax. And SDR is a software-derived receiver. And you could actually go on the internet and listen to shortwave on your PC. And this is it here.
Oh, wow.
You turn.
So you're literally feeding the audio into your WeFax thing, and
on this jack here. This is my Coco 1 running WeFax and downloading a picture from the internet through the someone's radio.
just anything that can make audio.
Yeah,
that's
Ron,
nice.
Ron, do you know was the WeFax viewing programs ever updated for the Coco 3 to use the higher res, or was it strictly Coco 1 and 2?
No. It's the same exact thing as the as Coco 1 uses, only they just changed the palettes.
I thought there was a Coco 3 one that it was a paid one.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
But I do know you can receive slow scan TV. I actually on this Tandy Color Computer WeFax group have posted a Greater Toledo Color Computer Club ham disk that has WeFax in it and RIDI and slow scan TV in it. So if you want to go and download that and play with it, see if you can get it working. This is the same version that the Coco 1 and 2 uses, but with the palette changes, I made it so it's white lettering on black screen. It's a little more pleasing, but it still has this stupid green background. See here?
Yeah, on the border.
Yeah, I'd like to get that black. I don't know how to do it.
Not on Coco 1 and 2 anyway.
Yeah, Coco VGA will do it.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but the old Sam chip won't, right?
Yeah.
No.
So anyway, on this, you start the sound over here, and this is a spectrum of frequencies, and it has what's called a waterfall here. And basically, as time goes on, you see a line for all the different broadcasts, and then they have them tagged. There's little tags here. And in the tags, sometimes it'll say WeFax, and you click on it, and it's already centered on the frequency, and you can adjust it a little bit. And what you do is on the WeFax program, it has a little oscillator thing showing. And when you have it all plugged in and working, how do you say, the oscillation of it going back and forth is what causes the on and off, the black and white, to go across the screen.
How long does it take to capture an image?
It's about 10 minutes or so.
Right.
It isn't as long as you'd think. It looks like it's going to take forever. You lift the joystick up and put it on 120 lines per minute, I guess it is. And then you bring the joystick down so it starts scanning down. And then usually they see this bar here. They broadcast a bar along with the chart. And you want to make sure that bar is to the side. Sometimes it starts in the middle or toward the end. And you either move your joystick to the left or to the right so it's on an end. And then the frame comes all in and you don't have that bar in the middle. And that's how you frame the picture as it comes in. It's pretty cool. I didn't think I'd be able to do it again. I went and looked on Google to find out, do they actually broadcast the same 120 lines per minute, that Coco would still be able to decode it. And sure enough, they do. Pretty neat.
Your tax dollars at work?
Yeah. Well, they're from all over the world. I mean, there's broadcasting places all over the world that do this. This is the main screen on the Coco. Whoever did it made it red. And this is how fast it loads in on the SDC. It's much slower on when your floppy drive loads it in. It's a screen at a time. It takes a little bit. But in the beginning here, you have a load, and you can load a whole panel in. There's two basic panels. They're all loaded into the floppy drive, and you don't see a directory of them. It's like hidden. The program manipulates them, and they're in Graphicom format. You can view, or you can load, or you can save them. So when you do your 120 lines per minute, and it loads all the buffer in, and then you go to save and save it in either bank 1 or bank 2. And that's pretty much it. This is the two hashes there are. One's for 1500 and one's for 2300. And you'll get the signal bouncing back and forth between the two, or sometimes just on one end. And when you have a radio, you can adjust the BFO so that it stays in between these two lines. When you have it on the SDR on the internet, you would change the frequency by hitting plus or minus on the software to change the frequency. And anyway, once it's in here, basically what you have is ones and zeros, and that's what it's decoding. And you want to be able to have definite ones and zeros, or you're going to get static. And static is mostly what you get until you figure out, how it works. Now on my computer, it's a little different. On my receiver, you can make the jack fit against the socket and have sound coming out at the same time as the computer is receiving it. And that's the way I keep it, so that I can adjust the tone or the sound, the frequency. But on the SDR on the computer, when you push it in the jack, it doesn't get anything till you push it all the way in, and then it switches it. So it makes it a little more difficult because you can't hear anything. I tried to do audio on and then run the program, but just as soon as it loads all the machine language in and flips to the screen that I'm pointing to, it goes off, so you can't hear it.
So is a WeFax data itself, is it read through the cassette port or the serial port? Or
the cassette, same line that you would listen for a program.
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually
it's
like the gray one.
using frequency shift keying, just slightly different numbers. I mean, the CoCo uses 1200 and 2400 for cassette data, and this is using what, 1500 and 2300 for the ons and offs.
Yeah, I actually.
But it's probably using that same circuit that's used to decode cassette data.
Mm-hmm. At the top, it has 60, 90, and 120. The 120's the only thing I know of that they broadcast. And I think in the old days, they had these other ones. And then the other thing that's out there is the RTTY. And I'm not sure how that works. I tried it a couple of times. If you hear like Morse code on your radio, you tune into that, and it has a similar scale, but with no numbers. It's just a right and a left that it bounces back and forth on. And I guess one's a space and a dash, I don't know, or a dot and a dash or something. But anyways, but below that is, and I think it's 45 words per second or something like that, or 45 baud and 65 letters per minute, something like that. Anyways, it starts translating all these beeps, which is pretty cool. But I haven't got that to work lately. Back in the day, 35 years ago, I used to do it a lot. And it would be really interesting to pay attention to and listen to other people, talking back and forth and all that stuff. This is some more. Now, this shows the WeFax 3 for Color Computer 3 and just WeFax. WeFax just for CoCo 1 and 2, WeFax 3 for both. I didn't realize, I saved them both on one floppy, thinking hopefully that it wouldn't interfere with the save space for the pictures, and it didn't. So I'm going to try and make it so each floppy that I make, I'm up to 11 now on WeFax 11. Each one I make has both programs on it, so you can look at it whether you have a CoCo 1 or 2. Anyway, that's that. See what else I got. That's pretty much it. The
very good
the beginning of the program shows explains what it does, and it has a countdown. And while it's counting down, it's loading the machine language in from BASIC. So if somebody was to, I suppose you can go ahead and, some people are good with their machine language code. They could probably just make the machine language program and not have that front end, so that it just comes up and starts running. I don't know. So I don't know about programming. Oh, I wanted to show something else, but I don't know. Let's see, what else do I have? That's about it, I guess. So I covered all those areas. There's all this is it. This is what, from here on my radio, I can reach Louisiana. And I was at this 12790 frequency, and that's what I got those downloads. So they worked really good. there's all kinds of charts like these that give you the frequencies, and then they tell you what charts are presented during the day, you know, at different hours. This is universal time. So I think what you do is you go on Google and you look up current universal time, and then you'll be able to know what charts being sent at what time if you wanted to get a picture of which one of the ones that I uploaded has a picture of the Earth, which, you know, doesn't look very good, but overlaid on the picture of the Earth is like a chart of the United States, and you can tell that, you know, where it's not cloudy and not cloudy, and that's pretty cool to look at, but there's no definition, you know, because it's just black and white. But I guess other software you can get online will actually decode a color picture that you can get from them with all the isobars and all that stuff on it, which is real interesting. Anyway, that's it, guys. I'll give it back now. I did my part.
Hooray.
Knows, maybe are we back? Maybe next time.
Yep.
I'll have a new another new group to share with everybody.
Okay. Anybody else got anything?
I have one quick one.
Okay.
So Paul Pasquarelli had sent me a prototype of his joystick adapter to plug in a Coco joystick into a little board that he made, and combined with another board that you plug into a USB port on a computer, so you can use Coco joysticks on real on games on the emulators. And I think I'd mentioned before that the USB micro USB cable here, when I unplugged it, actually ripped the connector right off the board because it's such a fine glue on there and stuff on there. So I didn't even have to touch a soldering iron. I broke something. But just to give a shout out to Paul, he actually sent me a replacement daughter board, which I haven't even opened yet because I was letting it warm up after being in my mailbox in -10 for a while. So I'll be actually installing that this weekend, hopefully get that back up and running again. And I'm also going to be flashing the latest GimeX because I was going to do that last weekend and didn't get a chance to. So I'll be doing a couple, hardware upgrades, which you don't hear from my mouth very often. So, but I wanted to shout out to Paul for the excellent customer service and sending me a replacement board to fix up the damaged one.
Okay, cool.
I got to go, guys. Have a good night.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Well, are we ready
Later,
to?
sir. So I guess I'll throw one last thing out. Remember one of the bins on YouTube? It's Ben Eater or Ben Heck or somebody built a 6502 computer on breadboards. I'm starting down that path. Here's the address decoder for a CoCo expansion card on a breadboard, to which I will be clipping more breadboards onto to add various things. Kind of fun. It actually works. It doesn't crash the CoCo.
Can you hold it up again and have Mark zoom it in, because I couldn't really see what that was.
Oh, well, here's the thing I've got. It's a bunch of 03s and an 04 and a CoCo bus. And then I clip another breadboard on that, another breadboard on that. And just
how big is this going to be when you're done?
Oh, approximately 350 times larger than the actual product, which will fit in a ROM pack case. So,
but this one will fit in your bedroom there.
Well, yeah, I just thought I'd see how far you can push a breadboard. I didn't think they would even work on a computer until I saw the 6502 built on a breadboard and said, well, hell, if you can do that, you can plug that into a CoCo and just kind of build all kinds of crap off the side of it like Lego blocks. So I'm headed down that road.
But the 6502 doesn't work.
Well, for certain values of work, it works.
I mean, didn't a breadboard get up to about a megahertz or so?
I got OS 9 to clock the bus decoders at least. So it's working at 2 so far.
Okay.
How far will that go? Probably not. But I thought it was kind of fun that it worked. I should have had a video with the little LEDs lighting up and stuff, but I'm totally unprepared today. So I don't.
All right. Well, that's cool.
Anybody else have any project updates or acquisitions to talk about?
This just in. My MC
32
X32 SD just walked in the door.
Nice.
So you're one of those people that ordered them completely out of stock now.
Correct. It's not out of stock here.
Does that mean you're selling it?
So that was your fault.
So you're going to list on eBay for $400?
Hell no. Going to my MC10 right there.
I know. It was a joke.
Yeah.
I did, although I should list it now that, you know, everybody's been, but yeah, my wife just walked in and handed this to me. So there we go. They're out there. They're arriving.
You think you can do a live demo of it next week?
Oh, yeah, probably. I'll have time to get some stuff on one of the cards. It also does MC server stuff, so I'll have to get it hooked up to my Raspberry Pi.
I'd love to see a demo of that in action, actually, next week if you're up to it.
Are we warming up to the MC10 here, guys?
Yeah, well,
Chad, we've never been against the MC10. It was an inside. It was just a joke. But
yeah, it's a joke that's gone kind of old, so I don't do it anymore. I know Rob doesn't get to watch the show too often, so we actually kind of played it up again last week. But
okay, good. Yeah, the MC10 is actually getting pretty cool with all these new things.
Yep.
Being added to it.
Pretty soon, Nick will even be programming for it. The other Nick.
No.
Yeah, let's get pipes and Rally SG on the MC10.
Can't. It doesn't have semi-graphics mode.
Oh, that's true, right? Actually, it does not even
mode
with
1 or
the
2.
8K ROM or 8K
No.
hack. I don't think it does either, does it?
No, it doesn't. No.
Doesn't have a SAM.
No.
Just a VDG. Oh, well, just port Donut Dilemma then. Thought you were going to sneak out of that, did you?
Are we ready to stick a fork in this one?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Forking time.
This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at cocotalk.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click the Patreon link at our website at cocotalk.live.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
CoCoTALK would not exist without the community, its cast, crew, and contributors. Thanks go to Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Mark Overholzer, Grant Leedy, Bruce Moore, Nick Marentes, Ron Delvaux, Rick Adams, Jason Reichert, Richard Lorbieski, Jim Brain, Tom C., Rob Inman, Mark Bosley, Brian Joyce, Ken Reichert, David O'Connor, Brian Weasler, Terry Steggy, Nick Marotta, John Strong, and many more, especially to Steve Bjork for production suggestions and James Differendaffer for making my head explode. Please help support the CoCo community by visiting some of its various contributors. A list of resources is available at imacoconut.com. That's IMACOCONUT.com. The CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore.
And with that, I guess it's bye, everybody. Unless we have a last,
All right.
last
Push the
comment.
button, Frank.
See you all next week.
Bye.